Hello, everybody. Welcome to a Friday night, adventure and fun that we're going to have. Doing something completely different. Well, we always, oh, shoot, there's my phone. Didn't mute it, but hey, would not be a start of a Dadman production without some kind of thing. At least I did not mute myself, and we'd have four of us talking independently with y'all tonight. So, hey, welcome here, Dadman Walking 55. We're at, 5 minutes after 9 on the east coast of the great USA. Next week, this time, I guess it'll be 8:05. It'll be darker earlier. And boy, do I love the dark days. It's so much better. You can sleep. But anyway, speaking of sleep, we're going to talk about a show tonight that really has a root in a lot of history. You know, actually started way back with some comic strips and other stuff in the 1920s, the late 1920s. It has changed over the years. I had some serial movies, became radio shows. It just changed and morphed over the years. So if you go back and watch our show last week, we found out a lot about the history. We found out a lot about the comics and a lot of the other stuff that, gave us this franchise that ultimately resulted in a movie in 1979 that was released in cinemas on March 30th, 1979, then to be made into a television show where they took the movie and broke it into two parts, which we're going to look at tonight. We're going to look at the first two episodes called Awakening. But Hungry Boy, one of our guests, is going to have some more information about that, because sometimes, movies are different in the theater than on TV. So with that, everyone, welcome in. We got 6 of y'all here. We've all had a bunch of y'all waiting already. So we did not avoid a warranty. I'm just kidding. But yes, it's okay. They chased me down. Boy, what a heck of an evening it has been. We did Fortnite earlier, and we got a lot of stuff coming up tonight. But let me not babble anymore. Let me go to the great panel that I have tonight. First off, I've got to go with this person that you met last week. If you've not seen it, I consider this my classy movie buddy review friend. This is the thing. We're going to do it nice and proper and have a lot of fun. We'll do it in a nice British way, my chops. Okay, I'll stop because I do not want to insult her or her coming after me. It's the great Daisy Blossom. Hey, Daisy.
Hello.
How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing quite well. And yourself?
Doing good. Yeah, there you go. The volume's here. So I appreciate it. Are you excited for this?
I am.
I know
I've watched it 2 or 3 times now.
All right. Well, I know we usually do our monthly movie review, but hey, this is going to be different, an ongoing gig. So, hey, appreciate you being here, Daisy.
Thank you.
Exactly. And Daisy was also on our reveal show last week. So let me go ahead and introduce another member of our team. It's the wrong franchise. He's not a captain. He's not even a colonel, and he's definitely no Wilma Deering. But, I guess he is a captain, but it's the great JT Kirk.
Hail.
JT, hail to you.
Yeah,
I blew it. You're not a captain, but you're a captain.
Well, much like the great Buck Rogers, I am a captain, but not a commissioned one in this fleet anyway. So
exactly.
That's something Buck and I have in common. So good evening, Dadman. Good evening, Daisy, and good evening, chat. I am really excited to start kicking this thing off and seeing where it goes.
Thank you. We're going to have to get a move on it because I tell you, we got 11 people in our chat already. If you're on the Twitch side, make sure you follow us over there. If you're on the YouTube side, smash that like button. Get the word out to other people. We're only 4 subs away from 500. Check your subs. Make sure you are still subscribed to this channel. I appreciate it all. And great to have you, JT. Are you excited about this one?
I am. I watched this a couple times to get ready, and some things I will be critical about, but overall, I loved the pilot. I guess it's a film. So I am ready to go.
All right. Well, now, like I teased and you teased there too, about how this movie, how this show actually started off as a movie. Remember, 1977, you had Star Wars. Soon after that, you had Battlestar Galactica. Now, then you got Buck Rogers. What a joy to be alive back then with sci-fi. If you'd never had it, and the first real times of sci-fi coming out. But with that said, who else that can tell us the history from the comic book to he's been turned loose to do mega research. So folks, get ready. We could go 44 hours on this one with this guy. You know him. You love this guy. He's a entertainer in his own right who should be paid lots of bucks to entertain on YouTube, but we can only drag him on. But it's the great Hungry Boy. Hey, Hungry.
Well, hey, thank you for that introduction, but the Australian tax office doesn't like YouTube, so I'm perfectly happy doing it for free.
Oh my goodness, yes. Well, how are you tonight, sir?
I am just thrilled to be talking about this, but also thrilled to be on the panel with such illustrious company. Mm-hmm. And illustrious company is actually going to be something that is very prevalent in the script for either the movie version or the pilot on television version tonight. So thank you very much for that beautiful introduction. I can't wait to get started, and I will be unabashedly expressing my love for this pilot and also the movie version, both. But there will be differences, which we will talk about later.
Is that all?
Is that all?
Is that all you love?
No, I love you and the missus. I love Daisy. I love JT. I love a lot of people.
Come on, Hungry. You do it on all the other chats. You said your chance to your favorite character in this show.
Okay, look, Wilma. Oh my God, Wilma. But Ardala is a very close second because I have a lot of things to say about it, which will be actually PG-13.
Oh
I know
my
you
gosh!
said
I gave you the chance to go, Wilma, like you.
No, I won't. No, Wilma. You know the
I was waiting for it.
No, Wilma! Oh my God, she is so close to my heart. She is so close to my heart, and I adore her. I really do, because as we will get into later, I mean, the thing that's just so funny, and Daisy and JT and you and the missus are going to laugh at this, but we all know there were never any strong military grade female characters before 2016.
Right, exactly.
Well, yeah, Jennifer Lawrence inspired Wilma in this, right?
Yeah,
So,
of course. Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
And they didn't fight Alien either on a ship and a whole planet of aliens. But yes.
And by the way, Mr. Angel, I do not have gum within 20 feet of me tonight, so you're fine. That's a joke for Mr. A.
Yes. All right. Well, speaking of that, within the first 9 minutes, we have 13 people, including some people that are not necessarily in our chats normally because of time and time zones and stuff. So I definitely would like to get to that. I would definitely like to have a lot of fun. So,
there's a lot of fun to be had tonight. Yeah.
Yes, it will be. So, all right, we got 14 people right now, folks. So let us go with this thing. Let's talk about this chat. We got some great all-stars in this chat. Like on the panel.
Were you about to say get her done?
Yeah, we're gonna get her done. We're gonna do whatever we gotta do. We're eastbound down. We're gonna kick ass and later gonna do what they say that can't be done. So you know how that goes. You know, like the song says. Which also join me tomorrow night at 9 o'clock Eastern with Ramblin' Canuck on his karaoke show. It's a lot of fun though. Come hang out with us and sing all kind of good songs. But yes, squirrel moment. So let's see. Okay, so
hit your notes.
I know. I've got my notes. And it's like all of a sudden people that I need to talk to are like contacting me at the wrong time. And it's like people that are hard to get up. But hold up. But
we have an extra hour this weekend. So
yes.
At least, more productivity, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
God.
Daisy, we're going 3 hours to make up for the hour we lose. Okay. Just
no.
Okay. All right, well, let's get to it. We got 15 great people watching us now. Thank you. Smash that like button. If you have not subbed, please sub. And if you've been a while, check and make sure you are still subbed because we've had some losses lately. We're only 4 away to get back to 500. We're trying to see how many times in a week we can hit 500 and drop back. But hey, the Comic Relief Crusader made it here first. Woo! He's so rare. And then this person definitely adds grace and class to this panel without the great Daisy Blossom.
Right.
Yes,
Mhm.
JT's here. Hey, AFK Bard, hello. Might miss
Hey,
first part, but I hope you have fun. We will, and hope to see you around or lurking, and definitely good to see you tonight. So, let's see. There's more greetings. Comic Relief was really excited. JT Kirk. Hey, it's Stunning and Brave Megatron. All right, good to see you, Stunning. How are you doing tonight? Let's see. We'll go down here. I hope I'm not missing anybody. I'm going through this. And Masters, Triple M. Here we go. The Great Buck on stream again. Yes.
yes,
And you're
M&M.
back for good. Awesome. We love having you around, Masters. It's not the same without you. And Rosalind Hart, it is wonderful to see you tonight. Thank you for being here and riding the party. All right, there we go. And listen, this guy is a cool guy. This guy, I love talking to this guy when I streamed with him a couple years ago and talking. And the guy's such a reenactor and all this stuff. His knowledge is impeccable. The great Archer Collin. Howdy, my friend. Good to see you over there.
In 2 words, Wilma Deering. Yes, sir.
Wilma Deering. Yes.
Also, though, I gotta give credit to my pal, the Comic Book Relief Crusader, because with that little bit you just showed, he said "rhyme to the party." Yep. What is Buck Rogers covered with at the beginning of this pilot? He's covered with rhyme. Well, rhyme is a specific word.
Really?
So yeah. So it's different. It's similar to Frost. To Frost. So that was actually a great joke. TCRC. That was
see, that flew way over my head. Thank you.
Well, see, folks, that's just an example of the high quality talent we pay for around here at this channel. So, hey, bring your friends, dogs.
He's going to say it's a typo now and ruin it. He's going to say it's a typo, but
we're going to move on that. Great to see you again, Archie.
So,
good to see you, my friend.
Dictionary Oxford is saying as a verb, you can use this to cover an object with hoarfrost.
Yes, hoarfrost.
So,
wow.
Yeah, there you go. And so now you can say hoarfrost in school, kids.
HOAR, by the way. HOAR.
Yes.
Not the other spelling. Not the other spelling. Oh,
we'll do some Fortnite later, and we'll talk about the other one. So, hey, Mr. Angel is here. Mr. Angel, I am so honored you're here because I know that you're really making an effort to be here, too. Archer Collin, I know you're way late over there, too, so thank y'all for those that are across the seas, especially. Lemon Pie is here. Howdy, Lemon Pie. Good to see you, my friend. And the missus is here, lurking away. Don't misbehave, people. The missus will get you. Yes, y'all can say hi, Sarah.
Hi.
Archer came back and said, "Oh, and hi, all."
Yeah,
that's funny.
Hey, Archer.
Look at Archer. This guy, like I said, is great. You know, first thing is 2 words, Wilma Deering. Then it's like, oh, hi, all. I love it. You guys are the chat are rocking tonight. Thank y'all for being here. We're gonna have fun with this show tonight. Let's see. Was this already Captain Insult? No. Stunning's waiting for paint to dry, so be popping in and out. Good luck on what you're working on. See, JT says he's on the panel as a new viewer, so I only know about the blonde, and I'm not complaining. He's got a way to go. So
it is true.
Now Archer Collin put this, and I don't know. I didn't get it. Is this in the show, or is this maybe in a future episode? He said, "I wonder how many people got the in joke with Brigadier Gordon."
I wasn't sure either, so I guess I did not. Perhaps it's a Flash Gordon reference. That was the only thing I could.
I was thinking of Flash Gordon.
Okay, yeah, because I didn't remember hearing it. Excuse me, I didn't remember hearing it in the episode, but we could have missed it. But hey, that is that would be interesting, because of the parallels, the connections with Flash Gordon. Masters is talking about Mexican tax declaration. Very easy to do. No government, no taxes, full stop. All right. Excuse me. Sorry about my throat tonight. And held a Phantom Outsider. Excuse me.
Do you need one of us to read them for you?
If you could for me real quick, please.
Sure. This is Hey at Hungry. Wilma was good, but Ardala was way, way more willing. LOL. I'm just going to leave that there.
That may
be up to debate.
True. This is true.
By the end of that, let's not spoil it. We'll get to the end of it because
We won't.
I want to talk about the ending of that because I thought there was a very interesting change in, I was going to say positions, but I meant change in perspective. Thank you. Oh my God. So Colin's like, I'm not sure. My heart was so close to, and then let's see, and good, and it's definitely good to see you, Phantom Outsider. Good to see you. Study now says now Jennifer Lawrence was the first woman ever born. Show some support. Yeah. Mr. Angel.
Can we have a moratorium on Jennifer Lawrence for this stream, please? A moratorium on her.
All right. Well, guess what? When I get through the chat, we're actually going to do a poll.
No.
Right?
What?
Yeah.
So
Lawrence.
So are Wilma and Ardala. So
yeah, Wilma.
Okay. That's a good poll.
Can you?
So good to see.
Okay, that's
here.
Well and good. But could you throw in a couple of the guys, like
yes, Stacy, just
Man or
just for you,
somebody?
Daisy, I will do it.
Dr.
Yes,
Hewer, if
Thank
you're
you.
into the daddy things.
Oh, just what? What's daddy thing? Oh my God, you got me with that one. Oh,
well, I do like Dr. Theophilus's voice.
Yes.
And his mind.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
Yes. Oh my God.
Just testing you, man. You said I could go beyond PG-13.
Yeah,
Just seeing if you're
exactly.
okay.
Comics so sub. Yes. Make sure y'all are subbed. If y'all got people and friends, bring them in. We're 4 away. Let's make sure that they're live and breathing. So the benevolent
need to be living and breathing.
Yeah. Ridiculous. So, oh man. Let's see. And that looks like about everybody that I've seen. You said hi to the missus. Others say hi to the missus. Let's see. Phantom Outsider did it even as a kid, as Crab had been both Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon.
Yep. Fanty knows his comics. Fanty is actually an expert on comics, far superior to myself.
And my good British sir, that's why I brought the lady on first tonight on our stream. So she brings class and elegance and grace to this show. And you always bring the lady in first.
Let's be real hungry. I don't think we do.
Dag nabbit.
Dag nabbit. But hey.
What did I?
Oh, wait a second. Look at this. Did anyone mention the Buck Rogers theme is the only sci-fi theme done in waltz time?
That's an excellent point. That's an excellent point, Phantom. And also, because we know our host, our illustrious host, he brings this up all the time. We're going to have a lot to talk about this. The music in this show, just a preamble, fantastic. So, yes.
Exactly. So, yeah, I think Stunning is agreeing with him, some guys on the show too. So, hey, on the panel. So, okay. All right. So let's go with this. I am going to I'll put the poll. Let's see. I'll put the poll out there as y'all are talking. I want to turn it over. I think I got everybody in the chat. If I missed you, say something. But like I said, shout it out, like it, subscribe, all that stuff. But most of all, thank you for spending your Friday night with us. We're going to have some fun tonight. So we're 20 minutes in already. But hey, first thoughts of this. And Daisy, we'll let you start as that. What just a general thought right now about when you watched it this time, what did you think, and did any memories come up of the past?
Well, so I back in 79 would have seen the TV version, and so this time I saw the theatrical version, and we'll discuss the differences in that later. I think it probably, I don't know whether on TV they split it into 2 episodes. They probably did. It does work very well as one long movie. I feel different about it than I did in 79, but that was decades ago, and I'm a different person now. So that's it. I'm not as eloquent as Hungry. You should have gone with him first.
No, don't say that. No, I love what you say and the way that you say it. I consider you equally eloquent, but more concise.
No wonder I'm muted. But hey, here's the thing: is why that? Because see, like when we did Temple of Doom, I mentioned something similar with when the younger me did not like the movie, but the older me found a different perspective, a different way to look at it. And some of the other movies that over time, except for The Village, has done that. Um, is there one thing you can put your finger on with why you may feel differently now than before?
That I've seen a whole lot more, well, not a lot more sci-fi. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. Probably later I can put my finger on it. It just seemed a little, I don't know, the 70s was much different than now. And so what was or wasn't funny or edgy back then isn't as much now. Nah, that's not it either. I'm sorry, I'll put my finger on it in a little bit.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, JT, same question to you.
So let's see. Like I said earlier in the chat, I'm a first-time viewer, so I did not see this in the theater, unfortunately. But I watched the theatrical version. So, and in doing that, I definitely had to put on, I guess I would call it my 70s goggles. They're like beer goggles, but it's for TV instead of, what you would normally use beer goggles for. So, having that, I hope my perspective is somewhat unique compared to the rest of the panel. But I think I'm going to frankly agree with a lot of us here too. So, and just so the chat knows, we did not discuss the contents of the episode in any great detail.
Nope.
I don't know what Daisy's going to say. I don't know what Dadman will say, or Hungry. So I am just as surprised as all of you, pleasantly, of course. So, and I will have my own input on the music. I did not catch that it was in a waltz, but that is good to know. So now I will not be able to avoid thinking about that. So.
All right, and Hungry Boy, your turn.
Oh, sorry, was Daisy saying something first before I go on? Were you saying something, Daisy?
No, I was agreeing with the captain.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, for me, when I was a kid, I saw the theatrical version, and I didn't watch the pilot version until last week and then last night. And I did notice some differences, but overall, this is something that for me is very different to most things I watch again in middle age compared to when I watch it as a child. There was an equal amount of enjoyment. The goosebumps came back at certain moments. The things that I loved about it as a kid were still things I loved about it today, which I can't say about a whole bunch of things that I review. Or I revisit, shall I say. But the thing that really struck me this time that was different, that I wasn't quite aware of as a kid, were the amount of James Bond or James Bondian elements in the pilot, but that was also in the film. And I'd only seen one James Bond film by the time this came out, because this came out a couple of years after The Spy Who Loved Me, and then also came out in the same year, but I think a little bit before Moonraker, which I also loved. So in revisiting this, I was noticing a lot of James Bond stuff going on with this, and I admired that, and the humor was there, and the naughtiness, but an acceptable naughtiness was there. And the thing that really struck me was, even though this was created for television, how much it actually stands up compared to some movies that were coming out in 1979, and the theatricality of it, the lighting, I'm going to sound like a horrible person here, but I actually prefer it to the initial Battlestar Galactica. I actually prefer it to that. And there are many reasons. That'll include music. That will include cues from one actor to another, timing, personalities being appropriate to the characters, And it's just a joy, a pure, absolute, unadulterated joy to be speaking about this tonight with such established and beautiful company. And thank you all for being
All
here.
righty. Thank you so much. I'm going to do a couple things real quick here. The poll is going and is out. And I phrased it as, who is the hottest character? Tiger Man, Wilma, Amidala, or Buck? I wanted to put Twiki in it, but I figured that would be too Star Warsy with Lando Calrissian, I guess. But hey.
No comment.
Yeah. But Archer, and thanks for handling it, JT.
Sure.
Archer had actually asked this question: are we doing the whole series or just a movie pilot? Well, last week we had our intro where we kind of talked about the whole history of the franchise dating back to 1929, the comics. So go back and watch last week's stream also. But what we're doing an episodic reviews as we go along. Tonight will be generally we do 2 we're trying to keep it around 2 hours. We're doing 2 episodes a night, hopefully. Tonight is the one, because it's a 2-parter at the first. We're going to try to keep 2-parters together and then go in order from there. But that's what our plan is. And plan is to hopefully, if we keep up the energy and everything, and y'all are with us, we'll plan on doing both seasons if we can. So yes, we're going to be doing it over the course of a number of streams. This will go for a ways. So, of course, if you miss it, then you can always go back and get us on YouTube later and watch it, on your own at a later time. But hey, make plans to be us Friday nights at 9 p.m. As JT also mentioned there, some of our dates coming up in the next month or two are going to be a little off and on, only because we're going to keep it on Fridays, but there are holidays coming up, which may cause us some times to have to step away here and there, and there's some travel and things like that. So, but hey, be with us, get ready for fun and adventure, and in really the future. So it's really, really cool. As I told Hungry Boy till he's like annoyed and becoming, well, there's the thing there, but instead of the Hulk, but it's like, damn it, I'm in the process of shattering this image of football in Fortnite. We're gonna have
damn
fun.
It, Mark.
Yes. Who, by the way, Mark is at a Syracuse football game tonight.
He is.
Yes, I forgot about that. So guess what that means?
Well, good for him.
I will be hosting Late Night Fortnite tonight over on my
Oh,
channel.
very nice, sir.
So hopefully I can stay awake a little bit longer and I don't fall asleep on my own stream like I almost did last night. But hey, come and watch. It could be a fun time to have. But hey, that's for another time, for later. But make plans to be with us going forward, and because we want to do justice to all of these shows without making a painful ordeal to go through. So let me ask each of you guys here real quick, and if you can make it quick as possible, because I know we've already 30 minutes in. What is your experience with, and we've touched on it a little bit, so let's try to keep it short answers. What is your experience with sci-fi? See, to me, I don't really know what it is. I don't know why it makes differences and stuff. I just know that it's space. I like seeing space stuff and things like that. But what is your depth of sci-fi? Are you a sci-fi geek, nerd, or whatever it is? Daisy, do you mind taking that first?
Sure. Like I said last week, I was born and raised in sci-fi. My father loved sci-fi and raised me to love it as well. And I'm pretty much a nerd. Yep.
Okay.
You said short. That's it.
No, you did. You did good, JT. That's cool.
Let's see here. I am also, I guess, in the sci-fi nerd category. I grew up with Star Trek, all of them, all real Star Trek, 735, and reading the books, and then Isaac Asimov, Twilight Zone. Of course, a lover of your more space fantasy, space action fantasy of Star Wars and all the rest. So if it was sci-fi at some point out in the 90s till the present, I have probably seen it and or read it or love it, and may have models up in my room. So there we go.
All right.
And yes, MMM Asimov. I'm rereading it as an adult and loving it. So
okay, Hungry Boy.
Well, I became addicted to science fiction as I don't know, somewhere between a baby and a toddler, because two of my earliest memories, number one was actually seeing an old Doctor Who episode. I believe it was actually a Pertwee episode on television, because we would get those shown for free in Australia. But also, one of my first theatrical experiences at the age of 5 was being taken to the theatrical re-release of 2001 A Space Odyssey, which changed my entire life. And at the moment I saw that, and the moment I saw my first science fiction artwork, I was already drawing from about 2.5 years old onwards. It was the first love of my life forever, science fiction. And that means everything that I would encounter afterwards that was real science fiction, I would adore, but I would also adore science fantasy. We covered that before when we talked beforehand, and you said keep it short, so I'm done.
All right. Well, let's see. The chat's coming in with about Archer says, let me see. I grew up with Jerry Anderson, Doctor Who, Star Trek, The Tomorrow People.
Great choices.
Master says, Asimov. Asimov. Now, Phantom, I cannot do that. You know, you get one or the other. That's kind of you're being very diplomatic, but yes.
Fancy.
Okay. Leave it to Mr. Angel. On behalf of the AI community, I must protest Dr. Theopolis is not on the list. I mean, look at that hot processor.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yes.
No, that's the guy. That's the computer in the second episode. It's like, help me. There's danger. And then he too late. But that's next.
Hey, if it was up to me, it would have been Dr. Theopolis and not Buck Rogers. But I didn't.
I'm sorry. I did next time I'll let you choose. I was like, okay. Hey, at least I didn't do Twiki. I was going to throw Twiki in there for the fun of it. Twiki.
Yeah.
Twiki.
I think Daisy and I are going to have a lot of compliments for Dr. Theopolis today.
I think I love the character. We'll talk about it. Yep.
No, that's Twiki.
That's Twiki.
Mel Blanc.
Okay.
Not to be confused with Twi'leks.
Now,
or to be confused
Daisy,
with
did you have to
Tweak
do
on
that?
South Park.
Twilights.
Yeah, that
Twilights are good. Well, listen, Comic Relief Crusader says sci-fi to him is imagining how far as humans could go with our drive and imagination to places unknown and asking questions bigger than ourselves.
Fantastic response.
That's a nice answer there. So, all right. So listen, what we're going to do is talk about a little bit. Oh man, gosh, I'm so behind. I did not realize the chat's bumping. So let me go ahead and just go. I mean, you guys keep chatting in the chat, but let me get into the story itself. As we mentioned, that it was originally that came out as a movie in 1979, in March of that year, and then in September it started as a full series on NBC. It starred Gil Gerard as Captain William Buck Rogers, a U.S. Air Force and NASA pilot who commands Ranger 3, a space shuttle-like ship, which is going to drive me crazy in this episode. That's launched in 1987 when his ship flies through a space phenomenon containing a combination of gas. I could not get it out of my head. His ship's life support systems malfunction. He's frozen and left drifting in space for 504 years. By the time he's revived, he finds himself in the 25th century. Then he learns that Earth was united following a devastating global nuclear war that occurred in the late 20th century, now under the protection of the Earth Defense Directorate, headquartered in New Chicago. Still no better than old Chicago. But the latest threat to Earth comes from the spaceborne enemies of the planet Draconia, which is planning an invasion. All right, so...
the fact that
okay, Phantom Outsider. No, this is wrong. There was no prejudice in this one. He said, Dr. Theopolis introduced Mauve to the evening sunset. How dare you be excluded in a clear case of robophobia?
Dag nabbit.
Dag nabbit. But hey, you guys are great here. So yeah, let's see.
Mauve is a great color, by the way.
Mauve is a good color.
My high school prom date actually wore a mauve dress, so it's like...
you're using the American pronunciation. I'm out of here.
No,
Kidding.
Hey, I was the stud of the group. I can go back in those days. I was the one that had a girlfriend, so that's fine.
Oh, wow. There you go.
But anyway, I digress. But this episode starts, as you can imagine, you see Buck Rogers. They show him flying off. Okay, I don't mean to get distracted. Help me come back to these details. They show, I think it's an Apollo rocket launch footage.
Yeah. So
Yes,
I
they
had this.
do.
And yet
I
they
had
put
this
it.
in my notes.
Okay, we'll come back to it, JT.
Too.
Let's come back to this point. Imagine sticking a space shuttle on top of an Apollo rocket, which makes absolutely no freaking sense. But he blasts off in space, then he goes, and then he runs into a phenomenon in space, and then gets frozen, and then he floats there for 500 years. Then we come up to, okay, I'm all over that one. So then, then he's floating there, and then you get that right off the bat, we get this, like we said on other streams, 70s in the TV music, bam, bam. Wow, that this very iconic, loud.
Oh, crap.
You know that the bad guys are there. It's announcing, we're here. It's just a good thing for the alien guys. So they come up on them. They start to shoot at them, and some of the fighters do. Then they realize, hey, something's wrong. Then they bring him aboard. They interrogate him a little bit, and of course, that's where we introduce him to Adala, and she tries to make the moves on him from the very beginning of the episode. And then they decide to let him go back to Earth and try to use his pull a tracking mechanism to try to find the ways back in through the Earth, through the right path back to the planet, which we'll talk. Hopefully, we can talk about that a little bit later. Because he's calling for Houston control. Hey, Houston. Even like 500 years later, but he's still calling for Houston. And then you see some debate in the defense towers, like, hey, what is this? This is strange. And it was the sector that never gets any activity. And so then we get Wilma going up there to with a wingman going up there to bring him back down. And then this is where we get the Buck is the playboy. Hey, I'm going to smart aleck everybody out, and then we get the quiet little kitty Wilma Deering who just is pushover. No, damn it, we don't. We get the you will listen to me, damn it, Wilma Deering. It's like you stray off course by like 2 feet, you're going to burn, and it was
you'll be turned into vapor.
You'll be turned into vapor.
Well,
yes, and we're going.
She turned me into vapor, but
gave
me the vapors. So.
Oh my gosh!
Oh no!
We're right off the bat. Daisy, did you want to throw something in there?
No, I was going back to the Apollo and putting a space shuttle on top of it. But
we'll come back. We'll come back. I'm going to try to do a quick. I'm going to go. Well, no, I'm trying to get through the whole plot of it.
The whole synopsis.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
We're going to go through.
Be right back.
Okay. Basically, no, I'm pretty quick with this, but basically, what you get then, they bring him down there. They kind of question him. They're not sure. He's sort of detained under arrest. They don't trust him. Then he defies Wilma, goes out into the New Chicago because he had to, see for himself. We see that he's introduced to his parents' grave, and then he and Twiki and Dr. Thelopoulos get stuck out there with a lot of bad natives around, and then Wilma and they come, and this time they stun gun him so that he doesn't get escape. They come back, then they find out that there was a tracking device on it, so then he's tried and pronounced for guilty to be terminated immediately. And then they fly back up there. They get Wilma gives him another chance to free himself, to clear his name, and then whatever happens, and then they end up bringing the delegation. There was an attack by pirates, by quote pirates. So they all got out there and saved the princess. So Buck looked like a hero for being instrumental in saving the princess. So then you come back to the trade meeting and the big party, which Phantom Outsider that talked about the waltz back up in the chat?
Yes, way up in the chat,
yeah, because see, that whole dance scene reminded me of a waltz. I'll just throw it in out right here with the way they did 80s techno music with like very formal dancing that they had. with that case. So, and then it's we get that case, we get them there, and then of course Buck decides to get up to the ship, slips the or some nice little medicine, and she passes out while he investigates the ship. Then we find out that
nice little medicine.
Well, I'm trying to figure out how to say it where it's not like something else.
I know. No, I'm just It's in my notes. It's in my notes.
Yes,
it's in my notes. I'm sure Daisy has notes. I'm sure JD has notes about that whole sequence. That was hilarious.
So basically, then they get up there. Of course, Twinkie and Dr. Thalopolis are going to shoot Buck. Like, hey, we're going down. We're going to protect the Earth real quick. And then Buck's telling him, no, that's not it. And then that we see that it's revealed that the Draconians were also the pirates. The attack earlier was a fake. And as part of their like he said, the Trojan horse, and one was like, what? So we got Greek references in there. We're clueless on the people in the 25th century. So then Buck sabotages the fighters. The Earth Directorate comes, destroys the ship, but Wilma gets Buck off. In the back of the cockpit, there was a scene right there that I was trying to figure out if there's a huge entendre in there when I looked at it last night. And then they fly off and back to Earth. And I think that's the quickest summary that I could do, where we kind of hit it in a general sense, so we can get to the meat of what we want to talk about, which is the scenes that really brought our attention. Was that okay?
That was fantastic. I'm very impressed.
All right.
Okay.
I know
I'm not just saying that. I mean, honestly, that was a great synopsis. That's better than the IMDb bloody synopsis.
So to IMDb for a second, and some of the reviews, this show got panned when it.
I know
contemporary people, and I'm like, I don't see that at all. So I don't know if reviews were as corrupt back then as they are allegedly today, but I think the critics back then were way too harsh on this show. I mean,
they didn't
like sci-fi.
Yes, thank you, Daisy. He's JT is younger. There was a massive bigotry against science fiction in the day. There are almost no. I mean, unless it was an Academy Award for special effects or like matte paintings, etc., you never had a science fiction show get a major Academy Award. You never got a science fiction television show get a major Emmy Award, for God's sake. It was very, very, and I hate that. So
okay, well, hey, I learned something tonight.
Archer said, I'm trying to remember if the original book was inspired by his Washington Irving poem about a guy who falls asleep. So I wonder if that's with this.
We were talking about Isaac Asimov and some things like that too on the side.
Well, look, but see, hey, I love this reference because we had Cold War references in here. Because even he said that. He even said that one scene is like, they've got to be Russians,
Yes,
so.
that was brought up several times in the pilot and in the movie. And the thing I do like is that even though it was made in 79, it was made in 78 and then released in 79, there are a lot of things that if you were an adult or nearly adult in 1987, you kind of appreciate it more than other people might, and Dadman knows what I'm talking about. There is so much, just as an overview, there is so much Cold War references and spycraft involved in this that you wouldn't expect for a 1979 TV show or movie that was supposedly sci-fi.
Yep.
I love that.
Oh, yeah, then Buck, and then he dropped Tiger Man. Everybody give some love for Tiger Man out there.
Tiger Man!
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Okay.
Who does go back to the original cartoon strip, by the way.
Beware of Greeks bearing gifts. He's like, what? Yeah, so yeah, exactly. There's a lot of that cool in there. Yes, exactly.
Trojan horses.
All right, so let's take it off the beginning, see where we want to go. So we'll go back to what I said from the very start with the whole... really with the launching of the thing of Ranger 3, the last of America's deep space probes, as was said in the chat, you're like, what the you know, how the hell do you put a damn space shuttle on the top of an Apollo rocket?
Oh God.
Yeah. And I had this in my notes too. I think Daisy and Hungry did.
Daisy, yeah,
And
y'all.
that,
I want y'all
that
also opinion on
really
this one.
ground my gears. I'm like, okay, these people have never seen what the moon landers or any of that is, seriously, because those things were tiny. And the Saturn V rocket, you end up wasting about 98% of the mass trying to get 2% into orbit. And this quote unquote mini space shuttle, which was not so mini. Yeah.
Not so
I'm like,
mini.
there is no way. And if you were launching that into space, why not just use the 2 boosters and then the fuel the way the regular space shuttle did? Well, but I said, well, wait a second. I thought the first actual full launch of the space shuttle didn't happen yet. And I believe it was 1981. I did a little bit. It
was 81. Yes.
Yeah. Now, so this was done. This model then had to have been constructed by, I guess, references to the Enterprise. Tip of the hat to me on that for the correct ship name of the Enterprise. It's always in that.
Yes.
But so that's what they were going off of. And so the artistic license on that, I was like, okay, so it was the Enterprise. So maybe they didn't really get it, but still the scale, way off and just, so I had to give it a little bit of leeway that they might not have known what the final launch platform would have looked like, but putting it on a Saturn V rocket, come on, folks, that's easily stolen, footage or borrowed footage, I should say, from just real from NASA that's publicly available. And so right there, I knew in the intro, okay, this is not going to be hard science fiction. It will be space action fantasy, and I will love it anyway for that. But it is good. It is not strict discipline.
Yeah, and I have and I have something I thought to add to that, but I want to hear it from Daisy. Daisy, what was your thoughts on that?
Well, okay, so I looked up when the first shuttle was as well.
Oh gosh.
Because I was alive then, but I couldn't remember, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then I went, okay, they filmed it in 78. But I seem to remember that back in the late 70s, in addition to being shown what the shuttle would look like, they were showing how they were going to launch it. Because those of us who were old enough to have watched the Apollo, they told us why the part that the people sit in is so tiny as opposed to these huge stages of rocket underneath it. And anyone with a science background would know, well, the mass of this quote unquote mini shuttle is huge.
Yes.
So it still kind of bothered me. And I figured, okay, well, they were trying to save money and just use stock footage of the Apollo Saturn rocket going off. And the people that were writing this were more into the fiction and less into the science and really didn't understand how big the shuttle was. And I'm going, okay, but it was irritating. But I did go look it up because, I was alive, but that was a long time ago. And I'm thinking, well, maybe it was really late in the 80s. That they took. No, they just didn't know what they were doing.
It's Glenn A. Larson, darling. It's
and
Glenn A.
then
Larson.
they're going, and then they tell you this is 1987 at the Kennedy Space Center, and I'm going, but they launched the space shuttle in 81, guys.
In Cape Canaveral,
right? And I'm going, okay. I'm just I'm just going to go. You know what? I'm going to give you this. Let's see how the rest of this goes.
I gotcha. Well, there was one other thing, and I'm hungry. I know you got a lot of stuff on other things, but this is one that hit me in the, or like Puck said, very ballsy. So to me, this is kind of this is that like Mr. Angel says, the space shuttle is in an atmosphere, a glorified float plane, no engines, so we order you to land at a certain spot. It ain't going to work well. This had Buck Rogers just flying like a friggin' X-wing fighter, just flying.
I know. Excellent point, Mr. A. And please go on, Dadman. But yes,
but it was like, and granted, the shuttles went up. You should have known that it was like maybe they anticipated that they would be that. That's the problem with using a real vehicle, because you can't get away from the connection or the connotation of what it is, what it does, and stuff. What they should have come up with a different kind of thing or something, because everybody knows the space shuttles were like logs. I mean, you could not control. I mean, you just were gliding it down on reentry. Yeah. I mean, it did not. It just had enough engines or thrusters to just change angles, change altitudes as needed in orbit.
It was basically a glider, and you didn't want extra kinetic energy because you were coming in hot, right? Going through the atmosphere, you were coming in pretty hot. So, you know, and then the air friction of you flying at high Mach speed, basically a meteor coming in. So there's no need for acceleration. But here we see it, like you said, flying like an X-Wing.
Yep. So, all right. Any other thoughts on that one? On that scene, or was it? It's funny that we all jumped on that at the beginning. Go ahead, JT.
Backing up just before this opening scene that blended into it, that narrator. If I could get every book ever written,
William Conrad.
on tape,
William Conrad, otherwise known as Jake from Jake and the Fat Man from Jake and the Fat Man.
Yeah. I really could use more of that.
Yeah, Archer, Conrad is a magnificent VO actor. Yes,
Archer. The shuttles really were flown. Maybe the prototypes were flown off of Jumbo, but I know the only times I saw the Jumbo were when they were being returned from one place to the launch site. But they, as far as I knew, they were launched from the ground, not from a plane. But,
can I say one thing about the opening that doesn't deal with the actual shuttle, etc.? Because I agree with Daisy, I agree with JT, but I come from this from an illustrator, space fantasy artist love perspective. Okay, so for me, I could let all of that go. The thing that really got to me in that opening, which was in both the film and the pilot, is this wonderful, very short segment with Buck frozen and his body is spinning while we are seeing concentric circles coming at us, showing 1987 to a century after that, to a century after that, and you have this wonderful music, bum ba 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 ba, and it's giving me goosebumps now just talking about it. And I love the way that they are visually in short speak, cinematic short speak, showing how he had to travel through time by no choice of himself, by an accident. And I think that is science fantasy and a little bit of science fiction, but I think it is beautiful, it is poetic, and it always gets to me every time I see that. And thank God they included that in the intro title credits for the show. I think that was just wonderful and beautiful.
He fell into the time tunnel.
I remember the time tunnel.
The time tunnel, well, okay, no comment, but yes. I just said I
remembered it. I just said I remembered it.
There you go.
It's a great show.
There you go. Well, we're still at the beginning. What about that theme song? What a beautiful song. The words are really something. But what about that? I mean, him laying down, and then was that Aaron Gray in one or two of the shots, or was that other model? I mean, it's like the women kept changing, and it was a bizarre scene. Sorry. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say that they looked like the female members of ABBA.
Oh, Daisy!
The outfits, the whole. I'm just going. Okay.
Are we going into Lycra that early? Are we going into Lycra that early now?
That's
not yet. We can do that a little bit later, but
I just meant the silvery, disco-y. They didn't have socks on, shoes on. They were, just striking a pose and all this. And I'm going, I swear to God, it reminded me of ABBA. I'm sorry. It just did.
I was trying to figure out what the point with a lot of that was. It was like, are they starting to make out? Are they doing what? Or is he sleeping? Or is he like, go away? I mean, I'm like, it was just bizarre to
dreaming.
See. I mean, it was just like, it was, to me, it was a weird opening. I mean, the music was beautiful. I loved the song, but was really just, I just really don't know how to say it other than it was just kind of bizarre, with the movements, with the slow walking and dragging, and it just was strange to me. Did anybody else have a problem? No, I mean, I couldn't tell if it was Aaron Gray with different hair dues. Then there was another lady in there, and I'm just getting confused at the beginning. I couldn't enjoy the song because I go like, wait, which chick is this? Who is this? You know, but I don't know. JT, Hungry,
So
do y'all have
I had a write up on this. Hungry, would you like to go first?
Oh my gosh!
No, I want to hear you, baby.
We're going to be here
Okay,
12.
okay.
We're going to be here 12 hours, I think. But
Yeah,
I
we
wanna
will,
hear you.
because we haven't gotten 5 minutes into the blasted thing yet. But hey, so okay, I'm going to have the opposite opinion of you on this.
The guy who knows music is noting the time. Okay,
Yes.
that is a pun right there.
yes,
Oh, jeez.
You
Abba
get
in
it.
space.
Yes, I do.
Yes,
I do,
Mr.
I do.
Angel. Abba in
Bravo.
space.
Bravo.
Abba,
So,
no.
all right. To your point,
I
JT.
said first positive things. I loved the visuals.
Yes.
I actually rewatched the intro on mute, just so I could
Oh,
watch
really?
the visual aspect of this. It was very James Bondian. Roger, I
Yes.
believe it was Roger Moore by that point.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. Very
For
much,
James
yes.
Bond. Yeah, I'm trying to keep all of that era of Bond in my head correctly. But anyway, so that's kind of what it seemed like it wanted to appeal to. And because
Yes.
I was watching the theatrical version, I said, okay, so if I'm sitting here just looking at the screen, this is trying to say, hey, we're like a sci-fi James Bond in the
Yes.
1970s. Watch our show. You know, and so I had no problem with the visuals. I appreciated them. Very 1970s artistic license on that.
Mhm,
But, you know, those old Bond intros were beyond odd and interpretive
Yes.
for a lot
What?
of that. Too.
Odd?
Well,
What?
I mean, in the way that like art doesn't always directly reflect
Okay.
something
all right.
like yeah. So I don't mean odd in a bad way.
No,
unusual. So
Euphemistic storytelling is the term. Euphemistic
yes.
storytelling.
Now the music, here's where we're gonna go. If I were Raquel, in Clobber and Time's first officer,
Oh, right.
I would
Yes.
have 5 raspberries for this.
Ah!
The anthem, I think, is the biggest piece of poopy on this
Okay.
whole show. I would fire them. I said that I wrote in my notes the second time watching. The intro music is so bad. If I were in the theater, I would have regretted my ticket purchase. I know it's in the ears of the beholder.
Yes.
Dadman, if you love it,
Okay.
I'm not going to dig you for it. To me, it was nails on a chalkboard. It was sappy. I could not stand it. I did not think it had any artistic creativity to it. And to the point, I said, "Is this an homage, a 1970s homage to what happened in the 30s?" So I went and found a couple
Oh, good
1930s serials on
Good
YouTube
point. Yeah.
and said, "Okay, I'm going to listen. You know, I'm going to skip through this a bunch and try to hear what the music is like to compare
Wow.
the 30s to the 70s." Your 1930s serials, I'm not sure where they were airing at the time, but they were very, very movie-like to a Hollywood T, very stereotypical. If you told me what year was this written, I would have said probably 1937 to 1940, and yeah, a lot of that music was written in 39 that I listened to. So I knew right there, okay, they, unless I'm mistaken, and I did not find the music it was supposed to be, you know, in the same series, it was not inspired by that. So this was a wholly unique decision made by the composer and the performers to do this. And I even to the point where you can hear little hints of it in the musical score throughout the pilot. It just drops here and there, little motif nods that
It does.
play that,
Yes.
and it kind of ticks me off because I don't like the intro.
Okay.
It maybe it will evolve and grow on me. There's always room for that. So the Blake 7 intro, for instance, I did not care for that too much the first time, but it grew on me and now I love it. So,
Okay. All right.
You know, all that being said, I think this was the worst of all the music. The rest of the music I have no problem with at all. So you all on the panel can fervently disagree.
Okay.
With me.
Oh
Hungry,
no.
what do you think? Or Daisy, one of y'all want to take it first?
Daisy first.
No, that's fine. You go first.
All
Please.
right. Maybe it comes from seeing it as a kid and having loyalty from that. hearing it, I should say, as a kid and having loyalty from that. But I actually really love the theme. And I do like the original song, although this is a problem with the end credits. When you have the original song sung by a female, and clearly the song was designed for a female singer, I don't like hearing it from a male singer at the end of the show. That bothers the hell out of me.
Yes.
It is, you will understand what I mean, JT, thematically inconsistent. It is thematically inconsistent. And I do not like thematical inconsistency. It bothers the living crap out of me. But overall, I actually like the leitmotif being presented in the original pilot or, the original movie. And it comes up on surprising occasions. There's a little bit of that leitmotif for the original theme, the opening theme, that comes up, and we'll talk about this later, with the first time Buck actually is going against Tiger Man when he's trying to get out of Ardala's bedroom after he's done something very James Bondian, shall we say.
Yes.
And you know what I mean, but there's that little moment. There's just for about 3 or 4 seconds where they're doing the variation on the theme, and I thought that was artistically a good choice. But I'm probably going to, despite my predilections, agree with what you and Daisy have to say.
Okay.
But it did not emotionally bother me at all.
Okay. Daisy?
Taking into consideration pop music in the 70s,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
I can understand when you want to appeal, kind of like the whole let's kind of do this in a little bit of a James Bond movie-esque kind of deal. Let's try to appeal to younger people who might listen to pop music. I could understand that. I did, because Dadman had said that he liked the song. So I did go back and listen to the intro itself several times with the captions on. The song itself, the lyrics, are pretty cool for trying to get across what's happening to this man who started in 87 and then wakes up 500 years later and who am I, and everything I know is gone. That was interesting. I wasn't a fan of the music itself. It was too popular top 40 music kind of thing. I did recognize it in, which is not a problem. There are top 40 pop songs I like. I mean, earworms. But I lost my train of thought. Hold on.
No, but also, because we're of an age, disco. Okay, I hate disco. I'll just be honest with that. I hate disco. So I understand what you're saying, and the disco elements of any music that was presented, particularly in some scenes we're going to be talking about later, bugged the living crap out of me. And I get you.
And the opening wasn't, in my mind, pure disco. It was more pop music. But it was also, I don't know, the music and the lyrics tried to be, this is sci-fi, and the music tried to be, this is top 40, you like popular music kind of deal. And that's what disjointed it to me, because I would have expected a more sci-fi like music to a sci-fi show.
As a joke for you and JT, it was thematically discordant.
It most definitely was discordant. But that doesn't mean that I hate the song. I'm kind of like you. No. It's okay with me. I did pick it up, like JT said, and you also said, Hungry. Later, you can hear bits and bobs of that played at other times during the thing, which is cool. I mean, if you liked the song, that would be really cool. I mean, I like that they did it. Well, I like that they did it. I'm not trying to be rude.
No, you're not. No. I admire your wit. You have a great wit. I admire your wit. That's all. When I laugh, it's never at you. It's with you. Okay. All right. Let's get that straight.
I
Oh.
liked the like A for effort. A for effort.
A
You took
for
the theme
effort.
song, you worked
Wow.
it into, and I mean that, you worked it
I
into
know.
the rest of the thing, like Star Wars did. I just didn't like the music of the song,
It's
so
okay, it's
I don't
all right.
want to hear it.
Yep. Yeah.
Wow.
And it's personal preference, you know. A lot
Correct.
of and to go back
Yes.
to James Bond for a minute, there are a lot of different
Yes.
theme songs, and they're all sung by women,
Correct.
I believe.
Mostly. Except for
that's-
one.
Mostly.
Except for
Yes.
Thunderball. Thunderball was a male.
Oh wait, I
thank
thought
you.
the one that took place on the fault line. Never mind, that's a different series. I
And,
thought there was another one.
That's a
when
beauty to kill.
And I think, you know,
Correct.
being born in the 80s, I wasn't alive for a lot of Roger Moore or Sean
No.
Connery.
Oh.
And you know, so a lot of that music I have to appreciate in my own terms, where
Yes.
if you
fair
listen
enough.
to that kind of thing and in the first time you were alive at that period, you had the sense of mind of the contemporary style that
The
you may have
cultural
loved
context.
Yes,
The cultural
yes,
context.
exactly. So you may
Yeah.
have always loved that, where someone like me has to come from behind. And so,
No, that's fair
Dadman, when
enough.
you say
Yeah.
it's beautiful, you know, I respect that because you could have seen this live at the first time, and so you understand the whole context of why that musical choice was made. I get to hear it, you know, like kids get to hear Beethoven 400 years later, and then they say, "Yeah, what is this? Give me, you
What
know,
is
the
this
hip hop."
nonsense?
Oh my God, JT, this
Yep.
is like Zoomer saying I don't see any value in Sergeant Pepper's album. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
Yes.
well, yeah.
Well, you know
yeah.
what? You know what? Well, so
No,
we
I'm not
can move on
mocking
to
you
other
in that
things.
way. I'm agreeing.
I
with
know,
you.
So we can move to other things. We got. I mean, we could stay on the
I'm
theme
sorry.
song. That's how bad it is. This thing. But yes,
Yeah.
Daisy, I'm going to sing that tomorrow night on karaoke.
Do it.
I love
Do
that.
it.
What?
The View to a Kill, Duran Duran. Yes,
It was
Ah.
Duran. Yeah, I thought
it
so.
is Duran Duran. Yes, exactly. So hey,
Duran,
Which is
Duran,
which
you
is a
keep
bunch of
torturing me.
guys, very beautiful guys, but guys.
oh no, we
Yes,
lost Daisy.
I'm sorry. Mic drop moment.
Oh no. You still
Okay,
with
so
us?
should we start on
Yeah.
the first actual scene in the thing?
Oh, I
or
thought
what?
you were talking. I thought you were going to finish the Duran Duran thing. Okay, well, I was left hanging. So.
Yeah, I could go
Hey.
on about Duran. Yes, Duran Duran did one of the songs for A View to a Kill that
Mhm.
was and that was the movie where they were trying to take out California by making an artificial earthquake on the actual Hayward fault line,
Yeah.
which my husband and I lived less than a quarter of a mile away from when that movie came out.
Oh wow, that's crazy. Well,
So
hey,
that we could
please-
go visit it, and we were laughing. That's not how you make an earthquake.
It's Hollywood, but hey, a lot of other stuff. So now,
Daisy.
Phantom Outsider said the theme was in Walt's time wasn't exactly disco or pop. See, I liked the song. I thought it was cool. I think it had the blend of emotion. Now, the only thing I wonder if you could make it as quote sci-fi is if you had the later scenes where we had the Funko disco type stuff on the keyboard guy, you know, with the instruments and later in the episode. That might have made it more sci-fi because that was some sci-fi-ish standing music because of you know, it just sounded different. It did not sound like an ABBA song, but yes, let us move on into the first few scenes. So
yes,
we'll move in because, like I said earlier, you know, we see him floating in space, and then he gets intercepted by the Draconians. Did y'all have anything of that, or where do y'all want to go with the first thing we talk about?
I just would like to remark great ship models by a great ship modeler.
Yes.
Yes. They and to know that a lot of the interiors and some of the models did borrow from Battlestar Galactica. They reused some of that stuff. So I won't go super
not like
in-depth
Space
on
Mutiny
it.
did.
Hey, no MST3K today. All right, we'll save that for a whole different.
Sorry,
stream.
I couldn't
Come
resist
on.
that one, but yes, okay, sorry.
There are definitely recycled assets from Battlestar Galactica to this show, which came second. I believe it was done by the same studio.
Yes.
A lot of the same modelers, a lot of the same special effects. Yeah, Glenn Larson was on that. So if you sit here and say, "Huh, that really reminds me of BSG," there's a reason for that. I'm not saying they wholly ripped it off. I loved the what did they call it? Not a Star Destroyer, but a Star
It was the
something
flagship.
flagship.
It was the flagship. It was called the
design.
Draconia. The Draconia.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful, and I love it. I'll talk about that later. But to back you up, I did a little bit of research, not too much, because I don't want to ruin my love for this show. And sometimes when you dig in deep, it affects your love. But the situation was the actual starfighters that are used by Colonel, I stress Colonel, Wilma Deering and her squadrons were the original designs for Battlestar Galactica, but Glenn didn't like them, and he decided he wanted a different design for the Vipers in Battlestar Galactica. So the designs were actually reused for this show, Buck Rogers. And I'm going to be the bad guy here, and Daisy, I will take whatever smacks at the back of my head you are going to give me. But I actually prefer the Starfighters in Buck Rogers to the Vipers in Battlestar Galactica.
I just said that to Phantom.
No, wait. No, you're not talking about the Draconian ships. You're talking about those like four-legged, like snow speeder white things.
That the Colonel
What the hell
flew.
are you talking about?
The ones that the Colonel flew.
Yes, I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking about.
Ship.
It looks like a glorified snow speeder. No.
Oh,
man.
no!
No, the Vipers are a better ship than
I'm in
that
trouble
thing.
now.
Yeah, I was like,
I'm in trouble.
Hungry, I'm with you.
I have the youth on my side, Dadman.
Wow.
I got the youth on my side.
Yeah, you dropped it on a candy bar and chocolate milk. So.
Oh, Dad, no. Daisy.
Oh, I like the. I'm sorry, I just looked up the Viper because I couldn't remember what it looked like. That's a beautiful ship. Sorry.
It is a beautiful ship, but for
It's a
Buck
beautiful
Rogers,
ship.
I love the Directorate Starfighter design.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
It's got two.
So I
It's
have a
got two
question.
prongs. Two prongs at the front. It looks like a snake about to bite. It's juicy, delicious.
Oh, well, all right.
Okay,
Well,
so I have
sorry,
a question.
Daisy.
I'm sorry. So, along the model work. So I was looking at it from some of the Draconian ships. Almost look like an X-wing with the wings closed, and all of the ships look different than predecessor sci-fi, which didn't have just Star Destroyers or things that looked like they could land. They looked more like rocket ships taking off. So did the modelers from this take any inspiration from, say, Star Wars, or probably not Star Trek? That would have been too far back, but because I don't know the answer to that.
Well, okay. Dadman, do you mind if I give a quick answer? A really quick
Go ahead.
one?
Go ahead. No.
Okay. So the person who did most of the work for Battlestar Galactica, which was the predecessor to Buck Rogers, was John Dykstra and his team. And John Dykstra actually was one of the original model makers in Star Wars itself. So there is going to be carryover and flow over, etc., because you have somebody who is at the head of the, shall we say, aesthetic creating StarCraft team, who has the same artistic predilections, being a person who was involved in Star Wars and then Battlestar Galactica, and then his preliminary designs, which were scrapped for Battlestar Galactica, were used here.
And to that point also, if you're in a design studio, you tend to pick many things around you to emulate.
Yes.
Like when in the 50s, you saw the big wings on cars because they took early 1940s, 1950s jets into the sculpting studio and said, how do we make this feel like that? When you're looking at these starfighters, think of 1960s, 1970s jets, a lot of Vietnam era things. You're going to get a lot of design language and utilization and jargon even based off of that. So,
and there's visual jargon as well as verbal jargon. Excellent point, JT.
Yes.
Excellent point.
Thank you.
I have to ask you though, is there musical jargon? Is there an equivalent?
Well, there's always the motifs.
Okay.
You know, you get the little sprinklings, the little themes that come in. That's where you'd see that a lot of time. Or you'll get Looney Tunes cartoons are very infamous for this, using the same kind of repetition of different themes on different motifs to jog the brain, so the brain knows what's going on when they may not have illustrated it exactly the same. You know,
hello, my honey. Hello, my darling. Hello, my ragtime gal.
Yes. Y'all keep talking. You know, and y'all can move forward if we need to move forward from there.
Now, when the ship lands, I did have a problem with one of the lines, and I had to tell myself, okay, JT Kirk, you know, I didn't call myself that in my own head, but anyway, my own name to self.
Talking in third person.
3/4 of the universe, really? And I'm like, cool your jets, you know, turn off the warp engines, you know, quarter impulse. It's the pilot. They're gonna say things that might be kind of off or cheesy, but I'm sorry. 3/4 of the universe. This emperor conquered 3/4 of the universe when the universe is theoretically infinite.
So
3/4 of theoretically infinite is still infinite.
It's not a number. It's still infinite. Yes.
Daisy,
yes. Okay, thank you, Daisy, because I was sitting here going.
Now, but it's the science. You have to park. Sometimes you have to park the science part of your brain over to the fiction, because the universe is infinite. If they had said 3/4 of the galaxy, I still would have said, well, it's a pretty big galaxy.
Good
but
point.
Universe is infinite. Yeah.
Now,
go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I need to ask you guys before we close off on the design. We're still at this point where this is the first time we see the Draconia, which is the flagship of the Draconian Empire,
with its theme music. Every time you saw it with that.
But did you guys like the design? Because I have to admit, I absolutely loved it then. I love it now because the name Draconia, the form and the function matches the name, and I like that.
10 out of 10. Easy. 10
out
of 10.
Well, I will tell you though. I tell you what, their fighters actually reminded me of a child's toy that I had years ago. It was like one of those S&H screen stamp ones you redeemed. It was like looked just like that. It did. So sorry, Daisy. I jumped in the middle of that. Sorry.
What did Daisy think about the Draconia? How did you like it, Daisy?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, how'd you like the Draconia? Is what Hungry wants to know.
True. I think I like the Star Destroyers better, but the Draconia is very nice.
I accept that. Okay.
Okay. Well, before we move on, I want to share something with Eric O'Sullivan, who's a chef out of Boston, shared in our tweets today. He actually had something to send us over. You remember about the Lycra and the uniforms, and this is something he picked up.
Oh,
yeah,
very nice.
And he talked about getting the pants.
I saw this.
Yes,
ditto.
Just had to get the rubber pant, whatever the pants are that are ribbed or ridged or whatever.
Ribbed, I think is what he.
And they're not rubber; they're Lycra. They're not rubber; they're Lycra.
Right.
Interesting.
Yep. So
now I did have one qualm with this. They don't know who the United States was, or it's some jokey fun reference.
I know, right?
Oh God! Here we go.
Arm. Look on your sleeve.
Look, it was the 70s. It was all about America, you know.
But
damn it, JT Kirk, stop that.
They called the United States of America an empire.
I laughed. That was
500
that was Ardella, though. That was from her perspective. That was fair.
Okay.
No, that was fair. No, nobody from Earth called the United States an empire. She did because she's a princess of an empire.
Well, this is true of an empire, I guess. Yes.
No, here we go. I'm with you. Archer Collins now saying, I wonder if there's a Doctor Who connection there. Draconians being reptilian race who had rivalry with the human empire.
Nice Doctor Who reference, but I think
possibility. Yeah.
I would say not, but I like that statement very much. But Daisy, I apologize. I had to jump in there because I'm going to be defending Ardala a lot on this show.
Oh, I thought you were going to defend Daleks, but okay, sorry.
Well,
hey, you pronounced it right. Thank you.
Daisy, I heard it. It perked my ears up too, but I also laughed and I ended up loving it because it was kind of a very mirror universe type thing.
mirror,
That's something
yes.
that
That's true.
Spock or Kirk mirror Spock would have said about the United States. Like that would be a line I would think that they would say. And so coming from this empire that is clearly not the best thing to ever happen to 3/4 of the universe.
Correct.
It really helped flesh out Ardala's mindset, right?
Well, look, Phantom Outsider is saying, did Ardala look like a reptile to you? No.
Fanty. Fanty's
No.
making in jokes with Doctor Who, but I appreciate
But hey,
that.
listen,
Okay.
let's try to advance a little bit. So we got, he gets escorted back down to Earth, and in the hangar scene. Sorry, I can't get this blown up a little bit better, but it's the way I brought it down. It's my fault. But you see him in the hangar. Wilma Deering standing there, basically, sort of interrogating him. You got the guards, looking at him. The one's got a weapon drawn, and Buck's just like, what the hell's going on? I'm just kind of like, he's like having a fun and all this in the scene. And, this is where we actually see the first two come together. They talk in the spacecraft, but then all of a sudden, they get down there, land, and then, Wilma comes over. I'm the colonel. Now, see, that was something I will say, especially for a 1970s show, early 80s show, is that they come right in and you got the woman in charge. Again, without going down that whole gambit that so many other people like to do a lot. But it was, even as a kid, it stood out to me. That it was like, it just was, it was good.
She's not saying anything unfair. She's not asking unfair questions. This is what a good military person of any gender would do.
Right, exactly. And as a kid, when I watched it the first time, that's the first thing I thought. When I watched it again the other night, I thought the same thing.
Now, that whole landing sequence, I found that exciting both times I watched. So
what the space shuttle that can fly with engine power and stuff.
Well,
and
the tension was well done. If you don't listen to me, I don't know who you are, but regardless, we're going to detain you on the surface. But if you don't do exactly what I say, hotshot pilot, we are, you're going to be vaporized. So, I thought the tension on that was nice. Very nicely done.
This is the scene. I think this was the scene actually where he delivered one of the lines. Hey, babe, it's Colonel Deering.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
okay. All right.
Which was kind of cute that she understood that was an insult, given that as you go further in, she doesn't know a lot of the quote-unquote euphemisms from 500 years ago. But
Fantastic
she knew,
point.
Hey, babe, was like, don't call me that.
From the tone, yes. And it would be the equivalent today if I used, because I did Shakespearean studies, if I used a Shakespearean insult, someone would get the tone even if they didn't understand the context of the words.
I'd point my thumb at thee.
Yes.
Yes.
And there are a lot. So that was a great point, Daisy, and thank you. Thank you very much. But you know I'm on Team Wilma, except for when I'm on Team Ardala. So yes.
Okay, I gotcha. Message received.
Yeah,
that's.
But there are so many. I mean, if I was a woman, let's be honest, throughout this whole show, there is a lot of teams for women to be on, not just Buck. There are many teams to be on. So I'm thinking you're going to have a mention of some of those comments later.
Well, and it's odd to think that just because I'm a woman, I wouldn't find the female form of one of the females in it beautiful. Of course, I would never say that.
I would never say that.
You go to a
I'm talking about
museum and you see, which personality I like. I don't know. Wilma she gets, I'm not going to go forward in the rest of the thing, but she mellows out a little bit.
Character arc, yes.
I kind of like Ardala being this, okay, let's just figure out if this is a 5-year-old guy who doesn't know anything. I'm tired. I obviously need more caffeine. Terribly sorry.
Oh, no, that's great.
She wants to be kind of sneaky and seductive and let me see what I can get out of this guy by using my feminine wiles. And eventually he kind of turns the tables on that. And then Wilma's more of princess? Real life princess. Yeah, but that aspirin 500 years from now, that aspirin is pretty good stuff.
The aspirin. We're going to talk about the aspirin. Yes.
Yep.
That's all I'm going to say about the aspirin.
Well, let's move.
No, it's just aspirin.
It's just aspirin. It's not oxycodone. We promise. But
don't talk drugs. You're gonna get the stream shut down.
I'm sorry. But Daisy, the thing to back you up here, because I always got to back you up because I love the way you think, is that this is like the prime James Bondian situation where you have mentalities. You have neurological processes who are both working at odds with each other, but can respect each other at a moment's notice, and they are sometimes working against each other, sometimes working with each other. And the scenes between Buck and Ardala, from the moment they meet, I mean, going back to when she's looking down at him, he's being revived from being accidentally cryogenically frozen, are fantastic. And she's taking him into account. She's looking at him in an almost analytical way, and then she's making her choices. And I love that.
Now, listen, we talk about women, all this stuff, but see, Phantom Outsider makes a good point here, that because remember, she's stern and all this, and we were really say, oh, she's top military, but here the whole thing is, though, her initial reactions are very serious, very forthright, especially when she tells them later, quit interfering, your orders, don't talk. Because, there is the stress that the Air Force is losing pilots and they're getting the supply lines cut. So, there is a lot of stress. You're in chief, you're in command of that operation, and nothing's working for you. And so that, I think, explains not necessarily the, quote, strong woman or just military. It's just, you also have a character that is undergoing a lot of stress in the
and she's quite aware of the food supply problem, which is brought up in this.
Pirates. Right. The pirates are taking out, Earth can no longer grow enough of its own food. And the pirates are taking that out. And yes, she's under a lot of stress.
Okay. Can we pause for a moment on this point, because I had a big problem with this. Okay.
There we go.
Okay.
I love it.
And we may not have had it mentioned yet, but they shortly discover there's a micro transmitter to basically map the path through this planet-wide force field. Okay. Are they escorting in every single transport through this field? And couldn't you just slap something in a barrel? How are they supposed to be heavily dependent on trade when they have one little tiny hole to get in and out of? That's like saying we're refueling the Death Star through the exhaust port.
Phrasing.
Yes, definitely.
What?
Phrasing, JG.
Well,
no, he's good. No, he's good. It's fine. No, that's a good analogy. Yep. I like it.
I like that analogy.
Yeah. So I ran into some problems there with that. I thought, okay, this defense shield needed to be, a little more dynamic. Let's say.
Where was it being generated from? Did we have?
Oh no, we never got that.
Generating it, we didn't.
We
get
never
that.
got that.
Yeah, I'm thinking you have the resources to make this whole defense field, but you can't grow your own food.
There are limitations to the plot as we were given the plot as audiences in the theater or television.
Yes.
There was a time limit. I accept that, but I actually accept both your points, and you are correct. In terms of science fiction, some things were overly limited, shall we say. Overly limited.
Sure. We can move on. That was just
Mr. Angel has issues. I think everybody has. You got technical things, but see, that's the thing. At least back then,
thank you, Mr. Right.
At least we're looking back, kind of, honestly looking back at it, picking these things out. It was probably some of the best that they had to do at the time. Where I think we have a right to be as hard on the new stuff that we do. because a lot of it seems to be pretty lazy and stuff. I mean, but they did not have the technology that we do have now. A lot, at our disposal, and I think to give them some grace and some rooms to do that. Oh, Mr. Niblick's here, lurking. Good conversation,
hello.
but keep it going. I disagree with anything JT Kirk says. Okay, all right, there you go.
Yeah. He's my buddy. He's giving it to me, and I deserve it. So
unacceptable.
It's all good.
Unacceptable. But I mean, just because we're going to be moving on now to the next scene, and you, my host, my bison buddy, you brought up limitations of technology, and I just want to bring up as an artist, as Buck is being introduced in his shuttle, he's being flown in to the Earth that is now versus his Earth. We have beautiful matte paintings, not CGI creations. And what people don't realize is that these matte paintings were generally created by people using brushes and oil paints on glass. And that is hardest on glass. And this is the hardest method of painting, particularly when you go hyper realistic and you look at like the burned, scorched earth from the Holocaust as Buck is being escorted into New Chicago. And then you see New Chicago in the background. These are beautiful paintings, and when you see them in the movie theater and you see them on your television screen, due to the limitations of the technology at that time, they look so realistic and so artfully done.
They do. Although I will be honest, when I was watching it, my mind did not go there. My mind was going to when she said, "Does your craft have a manual override?" Yes. And then we got a flying space shuttle again landing.
That's the auditor in you. But
I know. But hey, so then we let's see, we got that scene. So then let's see, Buck gets taken away. Gets being tested on things like that, and they're like, "Oh, you're 500 years." It was kind of interesting to see the way he took the news that he's 500 years old. But then he goes, we get the introduction also not of just Twinkie, I would call him Twinkie, but also Dr. Theopolis, and then we find out that humans, and see, this is a modern debate, see, kind of a timeless thing. Back then, look how we viewed AI and computers. And they actually worked right. Well, since then we have the Terminators, and we have real life nowadays, my friends.
Skynet.
We don't know, and things like that.
I was thinking Skynet.
But basically, we found out that humans turned the programming and the environment, like things like environment, to the computers to decide and fix everything. But they made it kinder, gentler computers, though.
Yeah, I was going to say, I like
the line was their sensitivity sets them apart from regular machines. Tell that too.
I liked the way that they did it, Dadman. I think you're on to exactly how I felt. They were very reasonable, I felt, with the way that they did the AI. They gave the AI a purpose, whereas in Battlestar Galactica, they just made them as killbots, I guess. This I appreciated more for let the AIs do what's appropriate and smart for them, but then give the AI that are thoughtful and members of the council a corporeal form that must be transported or conveyed by another being. Don't make them this big clunky looking thing. I thought that was a very smart move by the designers to make it a giant clock face, basically. I really do, cool. Because otherwise you're going to look like some cheesy looking robot. I'm sorry, but you would, and it would have driven up the cost, and I don't think it would have done them any favors.
But also to back you up, aesthetically as an illustrator, the thing that was magnificent about this, and I'm not using that term lightly, is that when you look at the trial scene and the AI, the computer council is trusted to put Buck on trial, you have the naysayer AI have a completely different aesthetic layout than the head of the council and versus Dr. Theopolis. So they're showing that there can be different individualities of a physical expression of AI, and I love that now. I loved it as a kid. It's just visually beautiful. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yep, I know. I know. It was really interesting the way they did the trial. I loved how
And the
Dr.
voices.
Theopolis was so, they're going to, we believe in you. And he was the one person that really believed Buck through the whole thing.
Mm.
So
Yep.
when it was really something to see when he actually was, you could hear I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but you could hear the emotion, the disappointment in him when, when they're on the Draconian ship and they're like really thinking Buck has turned on the humans,
And the machine displays empathy, displays faith, very human qualities that if
Dr. Hewer brought that up. He said that they are not human, but they have feelings and they can be hurt. He said that. That's a direct line. And also, there were situations before the trial where Theopolis is registering cybernetically what he can regarding truth in Buck's voice, and he does not believe Buck was what Wilma thought he was. That's very important earlier on. Very important.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry, but
no,
it's
you're
just
good.
the scripting is very important, and we have very good script here compared to other things we have later, like Discovery.
One line.
Well,
Go ahead, Daisy. Sorry.
I was just going to say, also, I thought it was very interesting that the AI, they're programming each other. So they said over the generations, so I would assume human generations, that these have been programming themselves to get better, I would assume. I thought that was very interesting that the humans aren't involved in programming them anymore. They program themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Great point. Very intriguing.
A lot of trust put in that when you're allowing the creator to program itself,
And have votes. And have votes.
Yeah.
Holy cow, right? And how accepting the humans are of an artificial technology of a sense that they initially created, having a vote on a council on what happens to the future of them. They were not how sci-fi typically portrays artificial intelligence as a limited servant capacity or as a thing to be irrationally feared or maybe justifiably feared. So I really appreciated that because I believe it defied a typical sci-fi trope of falling into one of those other two categories.
Fantastic point. Daisy, now for you and JT, did you notice in terms of the acting how Dr. Hewer treated Dr. Theopolis as a sentient equal, like a sentient equal life form?
Not consciously, but I definitely was walking away with that impression.
I thought that was very important because Theopolis becomes a hero in the last act, the third act, and in combination with Twiki, because obviously Dr. Theopolis cannot walk on his own or do anything like that. But I just thought it was fantastic that an AI was treated in an equal fashion to an organic, shall we say, walking on two legs in this show.
I hope we get to explore this later on because this is a science fiction theme within the show.
Yeah, it really is. I like the way you use the drone to transport the computer.
Okay, and to go into Twiki real quick. Is Twiki a member of the tribe? Because at this scene, I had to record it, replay it a couple times. I guess I'm not rewinding in the digital age now, but he said beat L'Chaim. I could have sworn he said that. I said, what?
Yes.
Yeah, where did he get it?
That's Mel Blanc. That's where he got it.
Okay. I laughed because we did not hear him
word.
actually say anything, right? And then that's the first English or first human words we hear him say. I'll say that.
Okay.
And so it made me just laugh. I was like, what did I hear?
Yeah. I have to let that one go, man. I have to let that one go because I'm a massive fan of Mel Blanc. Okay.
I did not have a problem with it. It was just like if I was in the theater and I couldn't rewind that, I would have been like, wait, what did I just hear? Like, did he actually
was
say?
me.
Anyway, I
Yeah.
thought it was cute.
Yeah.
So
No, absolutely, absolutely, and the thing is, sometimes if you are a luminary in entertainment like Mel Blanc, and you say, "I'd like to add this little bit in," they're going to let that little bit go in. You know, that's just the way it happens. Improvisation sometimes becomes some of the greatest lines in movie or television history. It occasionally happens. But I wouldn't be surprised if the scriptwriters threw it in for Mel. But Mel is one of the greatest voice actors of all time. And also, you know, Dadman
Let's
spoke
see.
with Red
Let me
Shirt about
let me
Mel
hold
Blanc.
on one second, Mr. Angel. Thank you for being here.
Mm.
Appreciate you being here,
Oh, no.
especially as long as you've had Ben. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Appreciate
Thank
you
you,
being
Mr. A.
here. Yep, absolutely. Okay, sorry.
No, but I mean, that's all I was going to say. I don't
Mhm.
think it was an accidental thing. I think it was a little show of respect to Mel Blanc. And I just love the fact it
Oh,
was in
Axel
there. I mean,
Foley.
but yeah. But I mean, there are times where, um, I okay, I'm going to ask what Daisy thinks about this and the way she analyzes it. But there were times where Twiki is introduced to Buck as his personal assistant drone, and he is being very quiet and just saying "beady beady beady" a little bit, which is translated by Dr. Theopolis. But later
Okay.
on, as he's becoming accustomed to Buck and Buck's 20th century colloquialisms, Twiki starts using them, and it seems like a natural progression. So I didn't really have a problem with that. It seems like that was part of the script to me.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've still got 10 people with us. We're approaching the 2-hour mark, so let's see if we can. Let's see if we can get into the scenes. We're talking. I mean, some big things with the computers and all this. Oh my goodness, this is just so much to discuss. But maybe in future, when we get through a lot of these concepts, it might be easier to do actual the episodic reviews. But you know, what about the scene in the wastelands? You know, when Buck is determined to get answers, and how he was fighting to get answers. Well, it was a very dark scene. You know, very moody, very very shady, very shady characters. You know, it was Go ahead.
I was wondering who those people were, how they managed to live out there, when they were saying you can sell the circuits and such and whatnot on the black market. Well, where's the black market? Because you don't hear those creatures speaking any earth-like language. They're more grunts and growls and
Right.
weird sounds. So I was thinking, are you trying to say they got radiated over, but that was 500 years ago? Who
Yeah.
are these people?
And I think this is a relatively common, especially later after this series concluded, sci-fi trope of or apocalyptic trope, post-apocalyptic trope, where you have humanity devolved into a Lord of the Flies situation where everybody's scraping by and it's a tough existence. I was fine with leaving those people out. I think we're going to conclude in episodes later, just as a prediction, that not everything is, peachy in the inner city compared to the rest of the planet. I mean, it almost seems like a foregone conclusion if they ever bring this up again.
No comment.
Now, if I may,
I mean about bringing it up again, because I'm not doing spoilers. Okay.
Sure.
I have to wait for you to see the series.
Then I appreciate you not spoiling. My whole thing on this, since I don't know what happens next, I did not like that whole 10-15 minutes.
What?
I did not like it at all. I thought if you were really in an apocalypse 500 years later, you're not going to find the cemetery in the street and all this. It was a little too convenient. Right. And I felt like, is this not real enough for you? Well, to keep you safe, and we also want to keep you detained. The Colonel will take you up in some kind of transport ship and say, this is the Chicago that you remember, and then have him have an emotional close up from the camera meltdown that is all actor eating the scene. I would have preferred something that way instead of him escaping and then she says, I put myself at considerable risk to come get you. And I thought my preference for how it would have gone would have also been cheaper for the budget.
Yeah.
But hey, they didn't go that way. It's fine. I just was not the biggest fan of the direction that they chose.
Yeah.
So.
Well, see, they come out. I like what they did in there. You know, the troops, Wilma comes out and they got the gun. Of course, you know, Buck says very ballsy to her. You know,
yes.
That's another great line. Yes, exactly. So I want to kind of move this forward a little bit more. Not necessarily scene by scene going forward. If there's things that y'all want to talk about that we missed, but we see the fake pirate attack then, where Buck becomes the hero. So they bring him down. The princess gets him commuted and gives them all the credit for it. So then the council changes, and then we get the formal delegation, the delegation dance with that funky 80s music with I remind me though, talking about it again about some waltz and stuff. It was like a formal dance with the waltz, you know, where you don't touch the partner and you kind of do all this like frou-frou dancing and stuff like that. And it's like, you know,
and the holding of the disco balls.
Yes.
They had the little disco balls.
Yes, exactly. Yes. And then and then Buck starts boogie down, and he starts the thing there. Wilma's like, of course, like, once Princess gets into it, and Wilma says, "That's disgusting." So.
So this for me,
but then again, well, hold on. One thing real quick too. My notes. Then right now, whole scene a little bit after when he's trying to get out of there, and I think this is when it's like that. Wilma said, "I'm sorry, I thought you were a spy." Then she kisses him.
I know.
And asked about going to a special place. What the hell? And that's
that was really obvious. That was really obvious.
But how do you go so far? It's like, boom, she's turned on a dime like that, and it was like, then he's like, I gotta be slow on re-entry, or some.
So I had quite a bit of notes for this whole part.
Okay, let's go.
Going as a younger Buck here in the group that was not around for the original historical period, I guess is what we'll call it now. It was so cringe for me, very cringe-worthy. I won't say the millennial Gen Z cringe. I'll say it was cringe-worthy. But in college, I worked at a blues bar that on the weekends had your 60s, 70s kind of rock, disco type bands come in. And I just said, you know what? All those years of me kind of thinking that people were dancing super lame and didn't know what they were doing, this all made a lot of sense. That this was the dance style back then. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe this wasn't as cringeworthy in the original time period. So maybe it was more acceptable. And today it's embarrassing. But back then it might have been hip.
Yeah.
He was not a good dancer.
Okay. That was a question I had for everybody here.
He's into this boogie down thing, and I'm going,
boogie down.
You are not John Travolta. Stop it right now.
And she was, she was not.
She was. I don't know what that dancing was. She was.
That was.
I thought they could have had a dance coach maybe come in and establish a routine for them.
Tears in my eyes. Tears in my eyes.
Disco medieval.
Disco medieval. I loved
it. Was disco. Yes, that's it. Yep.
I loved the disco medieval nature of it and the really unique music that was there before they started boogieing down. Now, the one problem I had with this scene was you can't just tell somebody to let it all hang out or whatever the phrase he used was. And then just start playing disco. Like, if you've never heard disco before, sorry, folks. Sorry, ladies and gents.
No.
You're not coming up with that music.
Right.
It just, as a musician, it doesn't work that way.
You had to hum what, because he said and then he said, I mean rock music. Do you know rock music? Which he
And
wouldn't
I
have
said
known.
yes, and this is not it.
And then,
I hate it.
right, and then I'm thinking that's not rock music at all. So I don't know what you're talking about, Buck.
That's
And yeah,
Clint
he'd
A.
have had to
Larson.
hum some of it. He'd have had to sing some
Oh.
songs to get the guy to understand what the heck he was talking
You're
about.
killing me. You're killing me. But I have to be the nice guy and defend
Yeah.
a couple of things. All right.
All right,
Sure.
cool. Let's
Dadman
go.
knows that. The thing is, Daisy, I was at, as a kid, more than a couple of weddings where that kind of music was played and that kind of dancing was done. So I understand how it ended up in what we saw. You know what I mean? It ended up because they're trying for the relatability factor on television in 1979, and they probably put that into the film version because as some other people say, we're not going to mention their names out of respect to Dadman, but a lot of people have been saying, okay, Hollywood is always 2 years behind the trend. So they're probably, but when this was being set up, they're probably designing it at least a year and a half before disco died. And I get that. And I hate that. I hate disco. I hate
Yep.
it. Ah.
So
Love my opinion
Dadman,
with it.
Hungry Daisy, was this hip or cool or
No, it was
happening?
cringe.
No.
It was
No.
even cringe. I
No.
think it was cringe even back then. I mean,
Okay.
you know,
Yes.
even
Daisy,
Yeah,
for-
I
what were
grew
you
up
gonna
with
say?
disco. I think I'm older than Hungry even. So yeah, I grew up. I was young in the '60s and
Mm,
grew up with the disco, and some disco I like
mm.
because you could dance to it. I'm sorry, you could dance to it. It had a good beat, you could dance to it. Rock music can sometimes be very difficult to dance to because
Yes.
I don't know what they're doing. So, but this was not it. This no, man. Come on, man. That ain't it.
I am agreeing with you and Dadman and JT. All right. My opinion is garbage on this, but yes, I agree with you and JT and Dadman.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
All right. Well,
I
hey.
did-
Can we talk about our
Love-
dollars eye makeup for a moment?
Yeah, go ahead. No, well, before we do it, incorporate it with that damn horn hat. It's like, what the hell with these
Oh.
headdresses? It's
She
like,
had the best horns there.
oh gosh, you know,
No,
I
that-
mean, what is that where Padme at Queen Amidala got those damn headdress?
Yes,
From-
and
I
there's a
don't know,
reason
but
for that.
I was thinking Hunger Games meets the medieval
No!
period.
Daisy,
Oh my
that
gosh.
kills me. No, Daisy,
This is
no.
District 1.
Oh.
It did feel like that a little, didn't it?
But honestly, when you look at the original newsprint cartoons from 1929 to 1933, before this whole censorship bullshit, the Hays Code hit Hollywood, there were those exotic costumes were actually part of Buck Rogers in print in newspapers.
They were.
So that horn outfit, okay, is completely. This is so rare for television and Hollywood and everyone else doing an adaptation, and this is one of the original comic book adaptations before anything else. That was accurate, so I have to defend the horn outfit.
Well, you know,
just
you
on
mentioned the
artistic
Hayes. You
principles.
mentioned the Hayes Commission. I know Red Shirt talked about that the other night with the cartoon
Yes.
stuff, and they would actually make comments about the Hayes Commission and the
Hays
some of
Code.
the cartoon, the
Hays
Hayes
Code.
Code. Yeah. So it's really, really cool. So, oh gosh, yeah, there you go, Archer Colin. That is great British humor right there. So,
But I mean, the thing about that outfit, and
Love it.
I have been very PG-13 up until now. You have to
yes,
admit.
go ahead. Yeah, come on. Don't worry about
Okay.
PG-13. We're among friends. I don't, come on. You can.
Okay,
you can
so
do-
what?
Well, and then Buddy Hepburn, our junior guy,
Buddy!
saying Buddy's an adult. Princess Ardella is the grand poobah of the loyal order
Nice
of water
one,
buffaloes.
buddy. Nice one.
Good
But
to see you.
the thing is, for those of us who were young and male and seeing this in the theater, like the uncut version, okay, there's that scene when Ardala is walking in to this dance hall and we're watching her from behind. And honestly, it is a very dicey outfit for her to wear, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, it was
There
like
is a lot
wide open-
showing.
Oh yeah, a lot of. I mean, like a bathing suit.
The way
essentially.
she
Yeah.
walked.
Yes,
She didn't
Daisy.
walk. There was a way she was walking.
Yeah.
It was
I'm
was like an Egyptian female pharaoh or courtesan going back 3,000 years, sway of the hips going on. And I respect that. I do respect it. But I was, even as a kid, I was amazed that I saw that in the theater. And it was in the pilot, too. It was in the TV version.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, we extend that from there but into the bedroom scene when he goes with her because he needed some medicine and stuff like that and all that. It was like really
medicine.
It was like it's really, really cool. We made her drink.
He needed a relaxant.
Yes, yes. But I will tell you, I've said this before. It's like as a kid, it was like, dude, that guy, he's got all those women and he didn't have to take his clothes off. And I was like,
right.
And now as an adult, you kind of read between the lines of what they did not show. And that's why I think sometimes the 70s, 80s television was better than anything modern days because they did a lot more storytelling where you had to fill in the blanks. They didn't have to beat you with the crude details, whether it's violence or sex or anything like that. They left it to your imagination that happened. They didn't waste time on stuff like that. They actually kept moving the plot and the story forward. Or like in Trilogy of Terror, they let the expectation, the anticipated take control of you and create an environment. Go ahead, JT.
Excellent point.
My whole thing is, the tale of the two women here, where he turns down one and goes with the other. First of all, you need to go slow on re-entry. He didn't have to leave till midnight. It wasn't 11:48, folks. For that kind of encounter. Yeah. He could have had both, like a real Bond, a real Bond character. Not saying that doesn't make him a man.
No, but you know what? But I think you just brought up a good point with his character, though. The serious military protectorate side of him came through.
I think he respected her too.
The thing is that but he was focused more not on the temporary pleasure. It was something's not right. His training kicked in. He did what a good officer should do. It's like, something's not right. I'm not smelling, something smells right in Denmark, and he's like, I'm not going to let it go. I'm going to investigate it. He could have selfishly just done whatever and been, his easy route was to go with the princess, that was always the easiest way to.
Well, also, at this point, to back you up, Dadman, let us point out, and this is something I wanted to bring out about an hour ago, is that Buck has been doing the right thing by everybody. He's a victim of circumstance in this story, completely a victim of circumstance. And you have people turning on him, stabbing him in the back more than 3 times before he actually gets to that point in the bedroom of Ardala. He has every reason in the world to basically say, okay, we can turn this to my advantage, but he doesn't do that. He doesn't. You know why? Because he's a military man.
Right.
And I appreciate that. But, Wilma has been, she messed with him. Hewer messed with him and then changed his mind. Even Theopolis messes with him until the final part of the 3rd act of the story. He has been stabbed in the back like 4 times by the time we get to the last 15 minutes of the story. And so the fact that he actually turns Ardala down is a mark of his character and the mark of a true gentleman and a noble guy, despite the fact he's making some naughty jokes.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, it's an interesting character study, I think, with that, because here's a guy that's been frozen 500 years, and
his family's dead.
The easiest thing would have been to do is just go whatever do
whatever he wants.
But you see the guy. His first thing is to do the mission, complete the mission, and and not just a shallow character. I compare him a little bit to Starbuck in Battlestar Galactica. Starbuck had his little things, but you know what? At the end of the day, he knew to do his job. He did know when to. He looked very pained, but he did his job. He did the mission, and with Buck, it is just and like I think GT's right too. Is he respected Wilma too? Is that he didn't want to just treat her like anybody else. There was a respect for it. She earned it. And he saw something different in her compared to a lot of the other people. And we're going to see a little bit more of how he integrated with other officers later in the series, especially like next week.
But that is a great point that you bring up, because even though Wilma has been messing with him more than anyone else in this episode, he is showing respect to Wilma more than anyone else,
and probably
giving her
because
the benefit of the
but
doubt,
probably
which she
because
does not give him.
Probably because she's been very ballsy on him with riding his case and trying to check everything he's doing and stuff.
Well, she's responsible. She is responsible. She is a good military person. And technically, so, I mean, where does Buck come from? Yeah. Where does he come from? He comes from the military tradition as well. So that is very important. And I think it actually adds a bit of depth to this movie / pilot, and adds a bit of depth to the following episodes we're going to be reviewing. I think that part of the relationship between him and Wilma matters. Do you agree?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I do. I think we're setting the groundwork for it. But I do think that you go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to say, when he when he leaves on his Starship mission in 1987, he is an adult. So
yes,
this family that he refers to that he lost, he was raised, by his parents to have a certain moral compass. He's then in the military, and they have a certain code that one must follow. So even though now he's 500 years in the future and all of this is going on and he doesn't know who these people are, and yes, he knows they're females and they're very attractive or whatever else is going on, he still has his moral compass and code that he had before he fell asleep 500 years ago. So if Buck was a good, upstanding human in 1987, which it appears he was, he's still going to be that 500 years from now.
Yeah.
Fantastic point. Thank you.
To him, he just fell asleep yesterday.
Yeah.
He doesn't,
And he's got no connection to people. Connection's gone. The USC's new is gone. The Earth's gone. But he still defends his home world.
Yep.
And the hero does what is right, regardless of what those around him think.
Thank you, Vandy.
Dadman, just to interject for a second, Buddy Hepburn rolled in a little bit ago. I did.
Yep, I did say. Yeah, he talked about Ardala and the loyal Moose Lodge. It's like, hey. But you know what? Before we go to the ends, because I think really from this point, it's basically to that point we have how he substitute Tiger Man in the bed with him for him. Then it becomes really the scene about him getting away to try to banana and tailpipe the fighters, and of course what a basic way to do it. And of course with Theopolis and Twinkie thinking he was a traitor, and just all that really rolls this up into an end. But it just was really a good episode. I think the way they wrapped it up is pretty good there. It's amazing how they all blew up, and then the Earth ships came and ended up destroyed the thing. It's like, but I tell you what, and what we see in this too, it's not just that. We saw the emotion in Theopolis and Twinkie not really wanting to do that. They were heartbroken, but then Buck's like, hey, this is it. So then they bought in, they called Wilma, she got the fighters up there and stuff. But one of the things that I took about it, we talked about World War II references. Okay.
Yes.
When that whole damn thing about the manual flying and stuff, that when she specifically gave that order when they were going on that ship, she said, turn off the computer piloting. That reminds me of, it may not be intentional or whatever, but a parallel of something that happened in the Battle of Midway when the Dauntless dive bombers had been installed with electrical arming switches. Well, what was happening is, when a lot of times they were defective, and they would drop the bomb immediately when they turned it on, and they ended up having to go manual and say, many of them had already dropped their bombs but made strafing runs because and that's just a little, whether it's true or not. We talk about how the 70s and 80s shows had a lot of this parallels. I don't know if did y'all pick up on anything like that in that scene?
JT or Daisy, you go first.
1, 2, 3,
I'm
not
sorry.
it.
I'm sorry. Could you? I'm so sorry.
Uh,
I had
Sorry,
something.
I lost.
I had something. The teacher in me is just going. You were supposed to be listening. I had someone ask me something IRL, and I don't know what the question was. So could you please
No,
repeat the
okay.
question for me?
Basically, at the Battle of Midway, they had a problem with arming switches, and
Yes.
when they did them, they dropped the bombs, and they actually went manual. They didn't do it. Well, in this case, we got the thing saying turn the computer off, because when you use the computer, it was not allowing them to fly properly. So
they were getting killed.
Did you see any other parallel? I mean, I picked that up. It may or may not be a thing, but did you see any other parallels to real life or any other historical stuff? Just in those scenes with when she ordered them to turn the computers off, because earlier she was insisting they had to leave the computers on.
Yeah, I thought it was very interesting from not a historical perspective, but just from her perspective. She lives in a world where they are letting AI write on programs, going back to Dr. Theopolis et al. They're letting them, run a court system and pass, do things with their environment. And they're very much relying on technology. And for her to say, turn off the technology and fly the plane, the spaceship, the way it's just, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Yeah.
She's changed her perspective enough that she's not relying on the technology that she's been told is the be all and end all, as opposed to how Buck kind of flies the thing like it's a fighter jet on manual. I picked up on that.
Yep. Okay. Well, and Phantom Outsider does say it wasn't the computers were making them fly wrong, is that the pirate ship's computers knew exactly what the systems would do. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. And hello, Lisa. Good night. Good evening. How are you tonight? Good to see you here with us tonight. Yay. So hopefully we can wrap up in the next few minutes, but basically,
can I bring up one thing about
yes, please do.
What Daisy was saying, just to back her up really quickly? That was a setup for a payoff, because way earlier in the show, Buck turns off his automatic pilot and Wilma gives him big crap about that. And then he's the one that goes and saves the squadron. And then she, later on, at the end of the show, she does the same thing. So that is a payoff for a setup. It is showing her growth in a character arc. She is, the feisty but addicted to rules colonel. And then she appreciates at the last moment what Buck was able to do. And that sets us up for their continuing and evolving relationship throughout the series. That's all I wanted to say.
Yes, it does.
And I love Wilma.
I did have a question here.
I love Wilma.
To see if it ever gets solved in the future, if I may. There was a comment by Ardala about having 29 sisters or 29 daughters from the Emperor. A couple things on this.
Oh, no.
It's mathematically impossible, basically, to have 29 daughters. Or 30 daughters.
$29.
So did you eliminate all your sons out of fear that they would usurp you? Because that doesn't really work that way if you're going to put your daughters in charge, because Ardala knew Buck for all of 5 seconds just because he looked hunky and took a risk. She's like, oh, do you want to serve at my side so I can I'll delete my dad and keep his throne? Like, excuse me? You don't even know anything about this guy, and you thought he was some kind of a traitor or something from the other side. It just was. I know the plot had to move along, but I hope that we get some more exploration at some point into the royal court of the Draconian.
I did write a note about the 29. I'm not going to spoil it. About the 29 sisters, and I did write, well, do we have any sons? Are what's happening here? I did write that.
Exactly. And say it's a rigged system because the Draconians had programmed it too. So that makes sense. Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
And my thing on that I'd like to say is, they had these autopilot combat computers, quote unquote. But if you already have an AI that's so advanced as the Doctor, why are your combat computers so dang dumb? Because if you're that advanced, you would have one hell of a military AI. And I think part of it was just plot, but I think part of it may have been in the 70s. We just did not have the computer revolution yet. So what computers are actually capable of in the order of their competency and capability was simply not there because we did not have ChatGPT or any of this other stuff. But I'm just trying to be nice to them, I guess.
Oh no! I was going to say there is a movie. It's not a sci-fi movie per se, but it shows the United States and the Soviet Union, and they each have the computers are called Colossus and something else.
Yes, Colossus the Forbin Project. Colossus the Forbin Project. One of my favorite movies. I recommend it to everybody. Yes. It is the original AI movie. The original AI movie.
Mm-hmm.
So ultimately what happens is the American computer knows that there's a Russian one and vice versa. And they want to talk to each other. And they hold humans hostage until they get to make contact with each other. And they kind of decide, rather than blowing each other up, because both sides can do that during the Cold War, that they're going to run things, which is kind of like a Skynet deal. But it's also the other movie, Do You Want to Play a Game? War Games.
Yeah.
That computer also runs You Can't Win This War.
Right.
So those things came to mind when they were saying, well, both sides, they're tracking war computers. They're both going to know each other's moves. And
Excellent point.
You're going to die. I thought and those were very good writers who knew. Now, this was a TV show, and again, you can only do so much. But if you've got a really good writer, you could have maybe messed around with that a little bit.
I agree with that, but also I think on my gut, looking at what I've researched about the series, they were aware it was Buck Rogers, and they were also trying to cater to kids, and they made the mistake, Daisy, you understand what I mean, by assuming that kids won't get it. Because when I saw Colossus the Forbin Project, I was 12 years old. I got everything. When I read Dune, I was 10 years old. I understood everything. And so that, I think that was a producer's mistake. But I agree with you 100%. 100%.
Well, I compiled a number of the great lines from
Good. I want to hear them.
Let me see if I went to do something here. Oh, yeah, there you go. Put that there. Okay. Of course, I mentioned earlier, hey, babe, it's Colonel Deering to her. He also said, very ballsy. He said to Princess Ardala, I'd never forget a knuckle. And then he says another time,
that was in both versions. Both versions.
Yeah, my place or yours. So,
yes, both versions.
Yes.
And then, what, do you have a headache?
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this was not so bad. Beware of Greeks bearing gifts. But it was like, it's like had the people in Demolition Man, or Running Man. Running Man. Gilligan's Island. The boat. Yeah, the boat, the ship. Yeah,
Three shells.
Of course, the great one. I got to go easy on
What's your boggle?
I got to go easy on re-entry. Hey, she had an attractive hat. Then
she had the best. She had the best horns at the ball.
Yeah,
that was included in both. Yes,
but Tweaky also said, let's see, what was it? Tweaky said the
nice body or something.
Yeah, there was a Let's see. Hold on a second.
That was one line that was actually cut out from the film, because I saw the film. The thing is, there was one moment where Tweaky says something to the effect of, "Oh, they hit me in the ball bearings."
I'm freezing my ball bearings off.
Yeah, right.
It's like the line. And then he said one about when there was a lot of danger. I hope you know this violates my warranty.
Yep.
Yep.
That was in
so-
the pilot too. That was
All
in
right.
the pilot.
Now
did-
she had an attractive hat. Yeah, JT. Because
Did
I
they,
got one
did
more.
they say at one point it's not Gucci?
Oh, I vaguely remember that.
No.
Yeah, and
I
I was
remember
like,
that as well.
Maybe y'all can help
What?
me with maybe y'all can help me with a scene at the very end
Uh-huh.
when they're flying
Mhm.
off from the ship.
Mhm.
Okay, Buck's back there with Twiki, and
Mhm.
then you hear and something happening. Like Twiki, eyes forward.
Yep.
Buck, you're my kind of guy. What the hell? What did I miss?
Yeah, I don't know. I missed
there
it
was
too.
some-
That was
Something-
cut out from the film, and I can't remember what it was. But
Because it almost looked like
uh,
I was wanting to.
Yeah, well, I didn't get what Tweaky was
I don't-
looking at.
Or if he felt
Yeah.
something like Buck got happy.
I,
or
I,
something.
I,
don't
didn't know. Yeah, that was my other thing. I don't know. I didn't
I'm
get it.
like,
I
was sitting
didn't
there
get it
trying to-
either.
So,
Yeah.
but hey, anyway, it was a weird ending what they did on that one. So, but
Um,
yeah,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead because I got one more thing I want to end
go
with.
for it. Go for it.
But I want to make sure y'all have covered the points that y'all want to cover because I do want to talk about women overall because we've been complimentary, but I do have criticism. But
Okay,
is there anything
I'm sorry,
else?
one thing on Tweaky.
mhm.
Now I assume Tweaky picked this up from Buck, but he says taxi cab and taxi.
yes.
He is-
Oh God.
So would that be
Ugh.
how would you have picked that up from Buck? Because you wouldn't think there was anything that would resemble a
No.
taxi 500 years from now. So I
Right.
was just wondering, did I miss something or was that just odd?
You didn't miss anything. I think that was just a joke that was tacked in because people assumed that the audience would laugh at it. To be honest.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Mhm.
That's fine.
But
Okay.
it's a great question, and thank you.
Hungry or JT, y'all have anything else y'all want to ask or talk about?
I had two minor quabbles with the fighters.
Yeah.
The first
Okay.
one is near the end scene when the Space Forces are deploying to battle. They fly in a triangle formation where only the first three and none of the dozen or so ships behind each one of the front one will ever be able to fire their weapons because they're flying in this odd triangle where one follows single file behind the other. And being that there are so many World War II references in this, I would have liked to have seen a World War II flying formation or a Vietnam flying formation, or even just them all spread out in their own kind of in a blob. But I think
Well,
that
or
this
taking advantage of three-dimensional space, they don't
Yes.
have to be on the same plane. They could stack downwards or upwards. That would have been better. As
So
well.
I was wondering if this was a special effects bit of trickery that was done to make it look like there were more ships than there actually were. That was kind of my guess as to why they may have done that.
Could have been. Yeah.
The second thing was, for goodness sakes, get a chin strap for these helmets, please.
Yeah, really.
It's messing around. They're flopping around on the heads of the actors and actresses, and to me, it's rather distracting. How hard would it be to just get a simple chin strap on there and affix a combat helmet to the wearer?
Right. Exactly.
Those were my only two major quibbles.
Those
about
really
it.
are minor. Those are really minor.
Yeah.
Things,
They're totally minor. I
Yeah.
loved the whole last half hour.
Okay.
of-
Well, we're
of
gonna
this whole thing.
we're gonna finish
Okay.
up with our overall thoughts in just a second. Hello,
Hello,
Squeaka.
Squeaka.
Good to
Hello.
see you
Hi,
coming in
Squeaka.
tonight. Hungry boy, your any other thoughts that you want to get before we wrap up with a summary?
Well,
Show this.
I will be quick. The thing is that knowing my professional background, I was always going to be comparing this to the original newspaper strip and the original comic book. And I think that they, as much as you can do with the censorship of television, which was harder in 1979 than movie censorship. The movie version was PG, not PG-13, PG, all those double entendres. And we have to bear in mind, to go beyond PG, you had to use swear words or drug use or nudity, etc. I think they did a magnificent job. And I honestly think that in terms of pursuing the original comic strip and then the comic book, it was very much in keeping. because you have a macho guy. Ardala herself calls him arrogant. I would not qualify Buck as arrogant. I think he is confident in regards to the jokes he makes to people because, I mean, dude, this guy got to be suffering some PTSD considering what he's gone through and how he wakes up. And so the fact that all he's doing is making a couple of jokes and trying to save people he has no relationship with. I think he is a magnificent example of good male character. And I think he is like James Bond with a higher moral compass. And I love that. I love that. And I love Ardala. I love Wilma. I think they are magnificent female characters. I think the whole show, from the whole concept, the way they pursued it from start to finish was fantastic. I got no complaints about this show until we hit later episodes.
Okay. Archer asked, let's see. I thought I hit the button. Were the flight suits supposed to double up as space suits? And hit the wrong button. But crap. Sorry. My thing is like done stupid stuff.
It's fine.
Yeah, and Phantom says yes, it is supposed to double up as a space suits. Of course, then face shield on helmet comes down if there be an air supply. So, it's one of those things that they probably may not have thought about those details back then. Who knows? But I know.
I love the fact that you actually see COL Wilma Deering on Colonel Wilma Deering's helmet. The fact that she has her actual assignation, military assignation on her helmet. I thought that was a nice detail.
Yes. Well, let me stop. Hey, Thomas, good to see you tonight. It's actually Thomas. What we're talking about is the 1979 TV show. It actually started months earlier as a released movie in the theater. Then they took it and broke the movie into two parts, edited a little bit, and we're talking about the first TV episode tonight. But hey, and we're going to go on because we're going to look at this on Friday nights every week. So if you don't have the series, folks, if you're interested in sci-fi, join us for this ride as we go along. But hey, welcome, Thomas. Glad to see you here tonight. So, and Daisy.
I just said hi, Thomas.
Okay. Sorry. All right. That's okay. I want to make sure. But the thing is, okay, we'll go with your wrap up thoughts and kind of tell me what you think overall with the episode. But the one problem that I at the end, we talk about Wilma as a great, strong character, and then a woman character, all this stuff. But you know what? I don't think they did her some service in some of the writing.
Oh.
In the middle with this, I gotta kiss you. You want to go someplace?
Yeah.
That was just so out of nowhere.
Really
but it's
fast.
even worse at the end. Even worse at the end. She does that big apology to him. They're like pleading in the cockpit, and it's like you just.
Daisy,
woman? I would say one woman automatically forgives a man that fast. That type of thing. It's a realistic thing.
Daisy, I had to ask, and I was thankful that you were on the panel. Was he that hunky at the time, or is he that hunky today that women are just dropping left and right for him? Oh, okay, because I was like, he has not romanced her. He did not give her that flower. He did not do anything in on screen to have Wilma just fall in love with him.
Well, see, that suddenly, like right at the end, she goes into this big apology thing to him, and it's like they took this very independent character and then like just I thought they really took it in a completely 180 degree like that. Am I wrong?
Well, they started it with she's jealous because of the rose, and then afterwards she's all, I'm going to kiss you and I'm going to invite you out of nowhere. I mean, not out of nowhere. They obviously had some attraction, but she hadn't really made that perfectly clear. And then she's just throwing herself at him. And then at the end, she does the, I thought you were a spy and then I didn't. And then I did and I didn't and blah, blah, blah. And I get it. It's also, kind of the way that women would have been written kind of in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
You're correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And
Magnum
so
PI.
it's
Magnum
kind of
PI.
like, yeah, Magnum PI, although Thomas Magnum is way more cute.
I respect that. I respect
So
Okay,
that.
Daisy,
much.
would this have
Yes.
helped you here? Maybe this scene was edited out on the floor somewhere, but maybe modern times kind of writing is maybe we would have gotten Wilma's opinion on him with her and another superior, or her and another woman or something, some other character, right? Where it's just those two talking about Buck, and she says, well, there's something mysterious about him, or I have, you know, he's alluring or attractive in some way. Would that have made the later writing post the ball scene where she kisses him and all this, and then the apology at the end, would it have made it more believable to you? Because
Well, in a way, because that's what they did sort of with Ardala. I mean, she was sort of fascinated at first with, hey, there's a 500-year-old guy. That's kind of
Yeah.
interesting.
It's like
You
another
know?
toy, another
So-
conquer.
And they did
yeah,
that to
another
her.
thing, they did that with her, but I didn't feel that they did that with Wilma Deering to give us enough. And yes, nowadays they probably would have had her speaking to a female friend. Hey, there's this guy and he's from
Bechdel
500
test.
years ago,
Yes.
and blah blah blah. Just give us a little, you're right, a little bit of something, because I thought, wait, I mean, I get it, and it's the 70s and that's kind of the way things went, but it
Yeah.
was sort of odd to me. I just didn't, and it didn't seem to fit her personality.
I would like to agree with you, and I would like to say, as I was watching it in the theater as a prepubescent, that is what I wanted. Exactly what you said. I would have liked to have seen that happen, and I was kind of re-editing the film as I was watching it when I was young. And so thank you for that, Daisy. That was fantastic. Thank you.
Well, when I saw it on TV as a younger girl, as a teenager, I sort of thought, well, I would have gone and talked to my girlfriend
Right.
about
Yeah.
a guy that I like.
Right.
That's what I would have done. That's what we do. You know,
Right.
we get up from a table all together and go in the bathroom and talk to each other. You would have talked to your friends. You would have.
And babysitters of that time would like call somebody if they had such a concern.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Oh, it's great point.
So it was
Great
odd,
point.
but
Yeah.
but it was.
And I don't believe 500 years makes that much a difference in human behavior to back you up.
No, I don't think it would.
And Wilma, I feel like, needed a friend at the ball.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
That was missing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. Thank
Well,
you both.
So, all right. Well, overall, I'm not asking for grades or anything like this, or
No,
that.
that's
We're just-
another show.
I know, but
Other
overall,
shows, yeah, many other shows.
Overall, what did you think? Were you very happy with this episode, or just, I mean, overall, just an overall assessment? Where did you think? Was it a great episode, good episode? Just kind of, what did you think?
Hungry,
Not going
go for
first.
it.
Hungry, you gotta go first. Yeah, you've been
okay.
deferring to everybody else tonight. So
Hey!
we'll make you go first. What?
Okay. I will just be honest. I loved it. I gave it an A+ when I was a kid, and in reviewing it, bearing in mind the cultural tenor of the, apologies for the thunder coming in through my microphone.
That's okay.
My reaction is still equally as positive, because I take into account the cultural tenor of the times. And one of the things I really did love was having the guts to show, well, let me put it this way, to allow Gil Gerard to show his range as an actor when he went into, shall we say, the forbidden zone with all the mutated people who are the metaphors for lepers regarding radiation, sickness, and disease. and showing his horror at what had happened. And then, yes, I know he's probably not going to find a cemetery, but I really like the fact that the film had the guts to add that in, and it was also in the pilot. And that really gives us a reason to empathize with him and really show us how alone he is and how much he must forge new friendships and new relationships. And that makes the ending for both the film and the pilot, when Dr. Hewer says, "I'm going to give you something to sink your teeth into," that makes it more powerful. And I love that.
Okay. JT Kirk, overall.
So, yeah, I viewed this as a pilot TV episode. And I feel like this is something that is not as commonly done anymore, where you have a feature film or near feature film or a long 2-part pilot. And so from that perspective, the pilot has to establish the characters and get the plot started on a show. And I feel like this show did excellently at doing both. It entertained the audience, which you have to do in the first 5 minutes or whatever, or people tune out, especially on modern TV. But even back then, you had other options. I feel like as the pilot, this accomplished every single thing on the checklist. It's not perfect, right? I think the dancing scene may have alienated some, right? If you saw it on TV for the first time, there are things where some audiences may have said, "No, I'm not doing that." Like, honey, we're turning it to Walter Cronkite or whoever, right? But overall, I feel like we are treated as viewers to something that you don't get anymore, particularly when you're talking about streaming properties where they waste the pilot, they waste the first episode, or they make it so inaccessible. And that's what I liked about this. This was accessible. The characters, you don't know anything about this space empire. You don't know what happened to Earth, but they give you enough to where the focus can be on the characters and not on trying to get your sea legs or trying to figure out your situation. It comes to you in due course. You don't need to feel in a panic or what's going on, how does that happen. So I won't give it a letter grade, but I feel very happy about what I saw, and I'm excited for next week's show.
Okay, good. All right. You're watching these week by week, right? You're not watching ahead?
Yes, okay. I have not watched ahead. I did not want to do that to myself.
Nope, I think that's a good way to do it. Okay, cool. Daisy Blossom?
I would agree that especially it's very nice to hear from JT that he felt, even as a modern viewer, that this was a really good pilot because it got you the tenor of this is what the show is. These are who all the characters are. This is an idea of where this is going. As opposed to some pilots that you watch now, you get to the end of it and they're much shorter. You get to the end of your 35 minutes or even your 50 minutes and you're going, I still don't know what this show is going to do. And this, which was part of the time, the pilots did tend to tell you this is exactly what where we're gonna go. I found it very interesting as a sci-fi fan back then. I continued to watch the show, and now, even as an adult looking back at it, it's like, okay, I'm buying into these characters. Yeah, it's not perfect. And my science brain goes off geeking about things going, that doesn't work. I'm sorry. But then I pull myself back and go, fiction.
Good evening.
Fiction.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Fiction.
Hi, Miss Martin uses.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
No, that's fine. I think that's all I had to say.
No, but that was a great point. Please,
great point.
actually, please go on.
Please
a
continue.
little bit.
I froze up there. Sorry about that.
That's okay. I'm sorry. Which point?
You were saying you were thinking
Oh.
fiction
Yeah.
versus
Right.
the
I had to
hard
keep telling
science.
myself, yeah, besides the hard science, I had to get
Mm.
in the mindset, especially now, well, even back then, that
Mm.
this is a TV series.
Mm.
They're limited on what they can do versus a sci-fi movie with a
Mhm.
huge budget, even relatively for those times, huge budgets. And am I connected enough to the characters to be
Mm.
okay with the fact that sometimes I'm going to have to shut off my scientific mind and
Uh-huh.
go with the fiction part of it? Are the characters interesting enough to me? Is the story interesting enough?
Mhm.
And yes, it is. And
Mm.
yeah, I want to watch the next one.
Good.
It's also a
Very
much
nice.
longer season. Can you imagine them doing 22 or 24 episodes in a single year
No, I
Oh,
know.
anymore?
Oh
I-
God.
Yeah, you ought to see my season 3 of my podcast and stuff. I'm like the episode 65. I'm really unbalanced. I got to figure out how to do seasons a little bit better. But hey, that's all crazy. But yes, I wanted to say sorry about that earlier days. I really am. But hello to Miss Martin Muses.
Mm.
And in case you don't know it, I am scheduled to go on her channel at 10 o'clock Eastern on Tuesday
Oh,
night.
good.
Oh, very cool.
So looking forward to that
Oh,
time.
yes.
She was a guest here once before, and great lady out there. If you've not checked her channel out, make sure you go check out Miss Martin Muses out there. All right, so it is my turn now to say what I think with this. Sorry, I hit the private chat now. I'll disobey. Folks. It's been a day. It's been a day.
It's been a day.
It's been a day. I'm
Has been a
amazed.
day.
For a
These
dad
guys-
man, you've made very few technical glitches so far. So
Yeah.
Well, it worked.
you are to be commended, sir.
Well, thank you. Work was interesting, and then I tell you, when I was sudden, it's like all hell broke loose on the streaming front before the stream and all. I got all kinds of contacts and stuff. It's like, hey, everybody says I multitask. It's like, oh my goodness, multitasking tonight. But I was actually able to keep it together. I'm awake now, at least for now. But let's put it this way. I am going to judge you. Yes, it absolutely Miss Martin uses. She's one of the classy voices out on YouTube anywhere you'll see. Go check her out. JT, if you can find that link and throw it out there for the great Miss Martin uses. I go back and watch our interview that we did on our channel. Okay, so I'm now just stretched out to say this. I am going to sort of do a reward thing with it. But this is Dadman being independent on his own. I'm going to take, we just had a Halloween candy stream, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, go back. I encourage you to go watch that. Okay. Well, I'm going to rate it on 4 candies, and I'm going to use Good and Plenty.
Oh, you bastard!
I'm going to take
out of
3.
Wait.
Huh?
Out of how many? 5 is
out of 4. 3. I'm going to take 3 out of 4, meaning it.
Oh, I got you. 4 is the maximum. Okay.
Good and
I'm becoming
Plenty. How
addicted to
dare
Black
you.
Licorice thanks to Hungry Boy. Maybe we'll have to have a post party later tonight if we can hang it out. Hang out. But anyway, I love this episode. It was a very good first episode. It's sci-fi, as people tell me it's sci-fi, but I get my pew-pews and bang-bangs.
Yeah.
That's what has always given me the problem with going over into the Trek universe a lot, is because it's very cerebral. It's a lot more. It's not emphasis on the space battles. I've always been more space opera, space fantasy, shoot 'em up, Battlestar Galactica, Star Wars, that type of stuff. But this show really at least this first episode gave enough of a balance. We'll see how the series progresses, but I liked it. I thought they did good. I think for the times the graphics were good. I think the only weakness was I liked the way they made Wilma like melt at the end like butter. That was probably the thing that I had the biggest disappointment with, but I loved her character. I loved Buck. I was impressed with him as a kid, how he could magically, woo the women with still have his clothes on. It was like, but hey, it's a great guy.
James Bond in space. James Bond in space.
Exactly. So, but I think the writing was good overall. I think the action was good. It gave me everything I wanted. And I look forward to going through the further episodes. And it wasn't boring, whereas some shows, and I'm trying to not use a current thing to just play, but it's like, the show has to hook you. And to me, the music is a good device. The song at the beginning, I know there's some issues with it, but that song really kind of set a mood for me. And it becomes more of a musical orchestral fanfare later.
Yes.
The sound effects, that thing that they did specifically with the Draconian flagship was engrossing. It had its own theme. The bad guy had a theme. Then the music helped carry, like we talked about on Battlestar Galactica and other shows. The music's an important part of even a television show where it gets lost these days. But so I would say 3 out of 4 good and plenties, and that's that's where I am. So on that note, any last thoughts, people?
No. I think I'm all set. I think we actually covered about 99% of everything I wanted to hit, which I was scared we would not get to. Now, I took a peek at the poll results, Dadman. And I think some folks are misinformed. Ardala is obviously the hottest character.
Well, speaking of that, we're going to end the poll now. We got 21 votes. We got 21 likes, folks.
JT.
How about that tonight?
Oh, God, I'm so glad to be in your acquaintance circle. Thank you.
Well, likewise, sir.
We can also tell you have mostly a male audience.
Oh, Daisy. Oh, okay. Look, come on. I can imagine myself a female. All right. And I can choose a lot of male characters out of this series. All right. But it's probably always, to be honest, I don't know about you, Daisy. It's always going to be Buck if I could imagine myself a female for the exact same reasons Ardala gave to him in the bedroom sequence near the end of the show.
So, see, I do question the results of these because Buck was second. Wow. And Ardala was third. Wow. Okay. Well, hey. But I tell you, I think it was they
called him arrogant. He was confident. Ardala called him arrogant. He was not arrogant. He was confident and dealing with a lot of emotional loss.
Absolutely.
That's what he was.
Yes.
Absolutely. All right, folks. Well, we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you to the panel, Daisy Blossom, Hungry Boy, JT Kirk. Thank y'all for being here. Stay with me just a second. I'm going to go through a few channel notes. We made this under 3 hours, about 2 hours, 40 minutes. A lot of our episodes, we're going to try to keep it at about 2 hours, but I think tonight we did have to set a lot of the groundwork, like with the costumes, the ships, and stuff that we may not have to spend time on going forward.
Right.
But, we'll just thank you for being here for some
Dadman, regarding Ardala's costume near the end, there's a Bison Buddies joke in that. You know what I mean.
Actually, no, I don't. Hungry. That's
horns.
Horns. Horns. Okay, horns. Hook 'em horns.
She's a Bison Buddy. She's a Bison
I was thinking hook 'em horns like the Texas Longhorns. But hey. Master says thank you. Oh, Archie Carly, good to have you. We'll do this every Friday at 9 p.m. Y'all, I hope y'all make plans to be here routinely. There will be a week or two coming up. We will not meet, and we'll let you know that. So, but in the immediate terms, like I mentioned, tomorrow at 5 p.m., I'm going to have a special stream. I got to remember this because this is the middle of the football day. Write my calendar. Look at my calendar. The great Tony Stark of Iron will be here at 5 o'clock Eastern. We'll be just chilling. Who knows what comes up?
That's early.
Yeah, that's early for you, but we had to make it work because of scheduling commitments.
Tony, I understand.
Yeah. So, but it'll be a blast. Maybe one day we'll get to play Fortnite with great Tony Stark. He's a great guy, and been on the panel with him before. Talked to him a few times. Really cool guy. Let's see with that. After that, then remember we do chill chats or something very impromptu. Just keep us on Twitter. That's when we get a notification, or either. Make sure you have your notifications on Twitch and YouTube. Also, Fortnite fun will, especially with the new season kicking off today. There's no telling when we will go and get started on Fortnite program. I let you know, JT, and I know Lisa. Marty with a C is not going to be doing it tonight. He's watching. He's not available. I don't know that I'm doing anything tonight. At least Fortnite wise, I may go later live with a panel. I don't know right now. I've got to run an errand and make a phone call on another stream in a little bit. So I've got to do a few more things. If I do something, I may be more in the mood to talk than play tonight. I physically, because as I told the guys backstage today, was a very interesting day at work and other things. So, but hey, I digress. But hey, anytime, catch us for Fortnite whenever it is. And today's the first day of the new season. I expect us, if we don't do it tonight, we definitely will be playing some during the day tomorrow, I'm sure, the missus and me. And we'll see how many people we bring on. Right now where it's kind of slow because, learning the new island and getting exposed to things, it'll be a lot of fun, a lot different than it was this last season. So enjoy the Fortnite streams when we do it. Also, like we have our late night panels where we chase squirrels all over the place, and the squirrels chase us back. So, yes,
yes, that's what I was going to bring to your attention.
Yes, JT. Let's see.
Is that the reveal stream?
The reveal stream. Yeah, that's why, because it's Archer. It's called the reveal stream.
Because it's not called that.
Right,
it's called chillin' or something.
Yeah, well, we did that because
right there.
We did that because of we had to keep the secret.
Yes.
So
nice, JT. Well done.
Right there for you.
Thank you, JT.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. But hey, so we appreciate you asking that, Archer. Definitely, and I need to get these things into the playlist. Also, there's so much work I got to do. But hey, we never know if we go chasing squirrels. But here, Monday night. November 6th.
Oh, dear God.
Do please make an effort to be here for the Mrs. Well, not here on Mrs. channel. JT, if you can find the Mrs. link and throw it in there too.
On it.
It is in here at the bottom. The YouTube link and the Twitch link are not the same. There are reasons why that happened, but there's her links. She's stepping out in the world of streaming, building with Mrs. Dadman Walking 55. Join me on my inaugural stream as I build the Lego Doctor Who set and share a little about myself. This is a set that's going for big bucks and opened on Amazon and other places. But, the missus is going to just do it. She's going to pull it together. And special guest is Hungry Boy. Again, it's going to serve as the Doctor Who guide. You can think of Mrs. as the real female doctor. Guide. You can think of the Mrs. as the real female doctor, and then Hungry Boy is the companion.
Yeah, I'm the companion. Absolutely. But I will stress, I'm not a fan of timey-wimey. Daisy knows
what is timey-wimey?
That is a Matt Smith doctor.
Oh, thing. I like Matt Smith. He wasn't the best, but
he's okay. He's all right. But I mean, there's certain, like, if I don't like a script, I'm not going to watch an episode.
Well, you didn't watch it for the last 3 seasons, then, did you?
Oh, you had to do that.
Please
okay. I basically stopped after Capaldi. That has nothing to do.
Well, you made it through Capaldi though. So yeah,
I made it through every episode of Capaldi. Every episode of Capaldi.
I mean, I gave up before that.
Capaldi was a Doctor Who fan before he became the Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I thought he made a natural Doctor Who doctor.
Actually, so was Craig Ferguson. Craigie Fergie Pants. He was a massive Doctor Who fan, which is why he had a TARDIS on the desk of his show when he was doing his late night show. And they were in a rock band together, a punk rock band in Scotland together, back before they got on television. So I respect Craigie Ferg and I respect Mr. Capaldi. But the thing was, and I just want to say, and I'll have to bring this up with the missus when she does her show, my problem with Jodie has got nothing to do with her being a female doctor. It has to do with the fact that before I saw her as a doctor, I actually saw her in Broadchurch, and I thought, oh, this actress is weak. She's weak. I don't like her. I just don't. Yep. I don't like her. And then she became the doctor. It had nothing to do with any gender politics at all. I'm just saying that right now. Nothing to do with that. It's just Jodie. Yeah. Jodie just basically does the same damn thing.
Yeah. But you know what? That happens in so many series when they do things like that. It's the same cookie cutter things and all this. But hey, the best thing is though with Doctor Who is the Weeping Angels. But Weeping Angels. But I'll stop
Weeping
there.
Angels,
Let's
yeah.
give the missus the focus. I will say that to the missus.
Yeah.
A beautiful Lego avatar that Aang made for the
Yeah.
missus right here on a
gorgeous.
board. So, yes, great work by Aang on this. But the missus joined Monday night. I know she's nervous. So come one, come all. Invite your friends, neighbors, and everybody for this one. Welcome her in. And she's great. If you've watched her on streams with us, when she's been on the blocks, then you're going to enjoy. If you want to relax, come enjoy her chattering with about this stuff, and with Hungry, keeping her company, helping if there's any Doctor Who stuff. But hey, let's see where we're going with this. What else is there? Oh shoot, I hit it bounced. But hey, remember my streams are on YouTube and Twitch at both at Dadman Walking 55. Dadman Walking 55 X or Tweety is Dadman Walking 55. Go there. The Twitter is the best way to keep informed to get around the lack of notifications and stuff. On the YouTube side, Master said he will be there. All right, sir. Good to see you.
Excellent.
Absolutely. So remember that. Make sure you hit the bells, hit the notifications on Twitch and YouTube, and make sure you're still subscribed on the YouTube side. We're still at 496. At least it seems like it might have stabilized. Maybe, but we'll get there with you great people and great people like this on the panel that help support, encourage, and you guys were a lifesaver about 3 hours ago when I was coming in way behind and multitasking way too much. But thank you, my friends. I could not do it without you guys, and look forward to seeing y'all next week. And to everybody in the chat, you have a great night, rest of your night, day, or whatever it is, wherever you are, and we'll see you next time. Bye, all.
Nutty-o.